Someone make it make sense.
Probably a couple.
Y'all, that didn't happen. I did not get a copyright strike. I think what happened, so I didn't see anything on my end, and then I saw a thing pop up that said my browser like lost connection with the speaker or whatever. It's like a StreamYard thing. It's a StreamYard thing. And it was like, your browser has lost connection. It's like, try to remove it from the stage and add it back on. And like, as I was thinking, because if it was a copyright strike, I figured I would have gotten like a notification on my phone through YouTube Studio. So anyway, but you know, I tried to remove and add to stage and it didn't seem to work. And then when I ended it, and then I went and looked and I went to copyright and it's like, nope. So that was not, so you don't have anything to worry about. There was no copyright strike or anything like that. I think it just looked like that because it just all in black or whatever, because it got, it just took away, the browser lost connection, right? But yeah, so no worries at all. No worries at all. So I was actually pulling up another video. I guess you guys couldn't hear me, but what I was saying was, I was like, I don't even know what the flat earthers say about why they think the earth is flat. And so like, I kind of want, like, for me, I was like, I can't really even, like, I'm not benefiting from hearing people discuss all that. So anyway, but also I wanted to have some things to look at. Like, hopefully, I don't know who this dude is. I just clicked on this one, but like, hopefully they'll like show like things, So this says the 10 things that all flat earthers say. And are you saying, right, it would say copyright stream and right. And it's still there. Yeah. Oh, that's weird. That's weird, Meg. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, no, I didn't see anything. Interesting. I mean, I'm taking another look. I'm not getting any notifications. That's very interesting. Huh. Weird. So yeah, and the other thing is too, like, if there is like a copyrighted thing, it depends on how it is, but sometimes it's like you can just edit that part out, but it looks like it's fine. So wait, you're saying it ended for, hold on, let me just see here. Where do you guys see that? Hold on, let me just see if it'll let me even open it up. I'm able to open it up. I just opened it up on my, where are you guys seeing that? That's very weird. I mean, I just pulled it up on my phone. Is it like at the end? Do you have to go all the way to the end? I'm going all the way to the end. Oh, I see it at the very end. If I scroll to the end. Okay. Huh. Stream has been suspended. So it's not. When did that happen? Let me see here. It doesn't say copyright though. Was it during the flat earther thing? I guess it must have been during the flat earther thing. So it doesn't look like it's a copyright thing. I guess they just ended the stream. I have no idea what the policy thing even is, right? Because normally if it's like, I don't know, normally it's like copyright, but like, yeah, interesting. Well, I'm not going to crop that out or cut that out. I'll tell you why. Because the live chat replay it won't be worth losing that because it was so hilarious with us in the live chat. So if I crop that out, you lose the live chat replay. So I'll just leave that there. But it doesn't look like there's a problem from it. So anyway, weird. Okay. No, it's totally fine. I mean, I had to end it either way because it stopped showing the stream, right? So I had to end it either way. It doesn't make it. It doesn't matter to me. Like, you know, I mean, I guess I don't want to have it like, my stream taken down or whatever. Or like, well, okay, that's not as big of a deal as getting like a channel thing, right? Or whatever. Right. That's right. Heather was listening. Can't lose. Exactly. So, okay. Yeah, so I just you don't see it unless you scroll all the way to the end and then it's just like stream ended. So so you wouldn't even know what happened. Like if people don't watch all the way to the end, they won't even see it. So okay. So anyway, but y'all let me know if you want to watch. We can go back to the cult people. I mean, there's lots of different possibilities. And literally this says Lori Vallow. I just clicked because I had this already ready from the previous one. So obviously I'm gonna have to update this because so I just, anyway. But we're just carrying on where we left off, and where we left off with was flat earthers. So let's see if there's anything good with this dude.
To the Globe Busters. For about 2 months now,
let me know if you guys want to go back to the cult people.
The comment section of that video has been a consistent hotbed of activity, with hundreds of flat earthers stopping by to share their opinions. For people who claim that globe tards just repeat what they were told in school, you guys sure do all say the exact same things. And I don't just mean the same arguments. I mean the same things word for word, like they were copied and pasted from some manifesto. This is because you all watch the same ridiculous YouTube videos made by the same handful of con men, and you all quote them verbatim without applying a shred of critical thinking. So now that I am intimately familiar with your greatest hits, I just had to make one more video so that I could share the 10 things that all flat earthers say. If you're a regular person and you haven't seen my other 2 flat earth videos, you may want to check those out first for a little bit of context. But if you're a flat earther yourself, don't bother. I'll be speaking directly to you throughout this video. Let's begin. Number one extremely problematic
to you guys is one thing that we can do actually that is actually related to the thumbnail is we had talked about watching Colby Ryan's phone call with Lori Vallow for the first time in like 4 or 5 years. And we also have Colby Ryan interviewing Nate Eaton. So that's kind of picking up where we had left off with the Lori Vallow. So we also have those options. If you guys want to watch either of those things, just let me know.
Problematic side effect of taking the globe and flattening it out into a plane is that gravity makes no sense, and there is no reason for things to fall to the ground. All objects accelerate towards the ground at 9.8 meters per second squared. That's an indisputable fact. And it is also an indisputable fact that any acceleration requires a force to produce it. This is how cars drive, planes fly, people walk, cats jump. It's how literally all motion works. Even charlatans like the Globe Busters accept at least this much, which is why they go off on their rants about magnetic magic, as you may have seen in my previous video. But quite comically, most flat earthers don't even do this. Most of you address this problem by simply listing 2 words, density and buoyancy. Well, I hate to break it to you guys, but these are not forces. Forces are vectors. They have a magnitude, which means a numerical amount, and a direction.
This is like so over my head. I don't even know, man.
Which means they have to point somewhere. Density is simply mass per unit volume, or how much matter sits in a particular space. It doesn't point anywhere. And buoyancy is simply a measurement of an object's tendency to float. So allow me to repeat, these are not forces. This is trivial to prove. You say that objects fall down because they are more dense than the air below them. Why down? Why not up? Or sideways? When you let go of a ball, there is air all around it. How does it know to fall down? Also, objects fall down when they are in a vacuum, which means there is no air below them. What's happening there? Face the facts. Things accelerate down towards the ground because of a downward force. That force is gravity, which pulls everything towards the center of the Earth, which is its center of mass. Denser things displace less dense things because gravity exists. More mass means a greater gravitational attraction. This is clearly why things that are less dense than water float on water. Again, because gravity exists. Rocks are pulled down harder than water, which is pulled down harder than air. Some of your more popular retorts to this include wondering how oceans stay on the Earth while birds and insects can fly. It's because birds and insects have wings. They flap them and generate an upward force. If that force exceeds the gravitational force, they go up. Oceans can't do this because oceans don't have wings. Individual water molecules can evaporate and go up into the sky because they are so tiny. But when they get up to where it is colder and accumulate into clouds, they eventually condense back into liquid water. And guess what happens?
Heather. So I'm going to just say this, and if you know, you know. There's somebody that we know that might possibly be a flat earther, just saying. I'm wondering if you know.
Happens. They fall back down as rain. Hopefully you are familiar with rain. As for planes and other macroscopic objects, again, they go up only when a force is applied. When you throw a ball up into the sky, the force imparted on the ball by your arm is greater than the gravitational force. But as soon as it leaves your hand, no more force is being applied, and only the gravitational force is acting upon the ball. So that velocity gets smaller and smaller, hits zero, at which point it starts to fall, and it falls faster and faster until it hits the ground. Gravity. Gravity exists, period. Saying it is just a theory does nothing but display that you have no idea what a theory is. Stop repeating what you hear on flat earth videos and catch up to the 17th century. Number 2, flat earthers all say, I shouldn't see this thing, but I do, so the earth is flat. Then to justify this claim, you all say the same thing, typically with no context whatsoever. 8 inches per mile squared. None of you have any idea what this means. You can't derive it. You can't calculate anything with it. You can't make a prediction with it. You can't tell me anything about this value at all. When I point this out to you, you get very angry, and instead of answering simple questions, you just link me to a bunch of videos made by con men. Well, I'm sorry, friends. Those people are doing incorrect math, or lying, or both, and they are counting on the fact that you won't do any math at all to check up on them. 8 inches per mile squared is not a valid way to measure Earth's curvature. If you understood math, you would immediately see that this squared on miles is totally out of place. That's because this is a parabolic approximation. This is for doing calculations with a parabola. It's possible that you remember this shape from middle school algebra, but I wouldn't be surprised if you don't. As you can see, the Earth is not shaped like this. So where does it come from, and why do people use it? It comes from the Flat Earth Bible, Zetetic astronomy, and Flat Earth priests use it because they know it's not accurate. It gives them incorrect values that they can use to claim that they shouldn't be able to see something when in fact they totally should. There are dozens of videos on YouTube demonstrating this, several of which reference the actual formula that actually describes Earth's curvature, which as you can see requires trigonometry. Stop blindly repeating what you hear on Flat Earth videos and learn some basic math so that you can do these calculations for yourself. Number 3, all flat earthers say the same 2 things about water. The first is water doesn't curve, and the second is water finds its own level. The second phrase is completely meaningless, so the fact that you all say that exact thing verbatim is just one of the many demonstrations that you all blindly repeat what you hear without giving it a moment's thought. As for the first phrase, stating that water doesn't curve is at least a coherent thought. However, it is dead wrong. Put a drop of water on a piece of wax paper or a leaf. What does it look like? A freaking sphere. Isn't that something? In your haste to mindlessly parrot what you heard from flat earth priests about water, you forgot to look at water. Water curves, my friends. Look at this curved meniscus. Look at these waves.
I was going to say the water doesn't curve thing. He said that at least it's a coherent thought. I mean, I think he's being a bit too generous there.
Water curves all the time. Water is not magic. It is subject to influence by external forces, just like all other matter. With a spherical water droplet, that's the electromagnetic force. Water molecules make hydrogen bonds with one another, which in this context we refer to as cohesive forces. That's why water has a very high surface tension. And that's why a water droplet remains spherical, so that it can maximize the number of hydrogen bonds that are formed and keep the system at the lowest energy possible. So clearly and indisputably, water curves. In this example, it is due to the electromagnetic force. It is therefore quite easy to understand that it can curve under the influence of any force, including gravity. The oceans conform to the curvature of the Earth.
Did you answer my question? Do you know who else? Do you know that we know? Does anybody know, or am I the only one? Because I don't want to say it. If it might be, I might be the only one. I might be the only one who knows this. Dirtle.
Just like the land does, and for the same reason. This is why saying that water finds its own level is absolutely meaningless. You think that level means flat, as though on the globe model, water should just magically project into space at some arbitrary angle. In fact, level just means as close to the center of the Earth as possible. What's most hilarious is that even in the tool called the level, which only works because gravity exists, there is a curved bubble right in there. If the bubble is curved, what is the liquid, which is mostly water, doing around that bubble? It curves. It is absolutely astonishing how the things you repeat from flat Earth videos are incompatible with even the most trivial.
And the thing is like the reason I've never even thought about this is because it's like it's the fact that you have to try to argue that the Earth, like argue that it's not flat, blows my mind in the first place. So like this is all just so silly to me. Like I don't understand.
Everyday observations. You should acknowledge that. Number 4, you are all quite perplexed about how Earth's atmosphere can exist next to the vacuum of space. This one is rather amusing because what's happening is that since you have no science education, your only context for the word vacuum is a vacuum cleaner. And again, because you have no science education, none of you understand how a vacuum cleaner works, which is a problem because you seem to think that outer space is a vacuum cleaner. Let's take a moment and clear this up. A vacuum is any region where there is no stuff. Here, there is stuff, like air. In space, there is no stuff, or at least very, very close to no stuff. Space is essentially empty. That's a vacuum. It is not a thing that sucks. Vacuums don't suck. Everyone say it with me together. Vacuums don't suck. Earth's atmosphere displays a gradient because gravity exists. There's a lot of atmosphere right near the ground, and then as you rise, because fewer and fewer molecules will have enough kinetic energy to go so high, it gets thinner and thinner and thinner until there's none left. Then you're in space. It's that simple. Number 5. One of your favorite little gotcha challenges is to request that we demonstrate how water can stick to a ball spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. The implication is that water and everything else should fly off of it like a child getting thrown from a merry-go-round. Well, it's very cute that you get overwhelmed by numbers with 4 digits in them, but in actuality, the Earth spins once per day. One time in 24 hours. Get on a merry-go-round and have someone push you one time around over 24 hours. Not a very thrilling ride, is it? The issue is that the Earth is really, really big. So if instead of using rotational velocity to describe a rotating body, like a normal person, you try to use linear tangential velocity, you're going to get a pretty big number. But to be honest, it's still not really that big. Planes go more than half that speed, and sitting on a plane at cruising altitude with no turbulence is just like sitting on a chair on the ground. Flat Earth priests cite these big velocities associated with the Earth and the solar system purely for shock value, and you're falling for it. Stop doing that. Furthermore, this little water doesn't stick to a ball challenge is the strawiest straw man that was ever made of straw. The Earth is huge. It generates an enormous gravitational field. That's why everything sticks to it. A ball is very tiny. It does not generate an enormous gravitational field, so things don't stick to it. Also, unless you're doing this in space, the ball must be very close to the Earth, which, as we just said, generates an enormous gravitational field. So when water drips off the ball onto the ground, your desired demonstration of gravity fails because gravity exists.
Okay.
Stop.
I just feel like I'm losing brain cells, honestly. No offense to those who, anyway. Okay. We're going to go back to this for a minute because you know what? I just
with
can't
keeping
get enough.
people, extracting and keeping to their
extracting their well-being for egoic purposes, and
oh my god,
for a delusion, to feed a lie, to feed a delusion.
Literally, like see, this is pure gold. Like this is pure gold. Like, right? Heather, are you laughing?
No.
And the question is, are you guys cult leaders? Oh my god, I love that. I can't get enough of
You
that.
have someone who's perfectly designed for you, that completes you in every way, that grows with you, that is your eternal complement. It is a divine, extraordinary concept. And I can see how people would be skeptical of such a concept.
But so that's like, are you guys cult leaders?
No.
And a cult, like your description of a cult is extracting and with keeping people, extracting and keeping to their
extracting their well-being
for
egoic purposes. and you know,
Egoic.
for a delusion, to feed a lie, to feed a delusion,
Oh my God.
and not letting them leave. You know, like turning them into some sort of farm, like the Matrix or something, a little mini version of the Matrix, or I don't know. I guess cults can be bigger. I'm not sure.
Oh my God.
But yeah, we're not that. We help people.
Yeah.
People are free to come and go as they please. It's
You
as
guys see
simple
this
as
message?
clicking the X on your browser and never engaging again.
Yeah.
Wow.
And does that you say yes? What's your take on that?
Well, we don't harm people. And
But people who've had, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you say you don't harm people.
yeah.
And yet we've heard from people who really do feel as though they've been harmed by you psychologically. We see people who are still in your community who have undergone surgeries and hormone
Other.
therapies to change their gender.
You're going to get an opportunity to talk to Adam and Brianne soon and hear their story and hear it from their perspective, you know, how they feel about this. You can talk to them and ask them how they feel.
But on the outside looking in, that sounds like harm to me.
Okay. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I feel
Oh my God.
that everyone has like their own spiritual journey,
Hang on,
and
guys.
they have a choice to agree or disagree, to go down that path or not.
And so you absolutely deny ever telling
That's not what I
somebody that they were a divine masculine when they were a woman.
We encourage people to explore.
No, but you've never said to somebody you're a divine masculine.
We encourage people to explore.
I thought
So
it was another baby.
you're communicating more than just your words. And I hesitate to answer that question in the way that I'm feeling led to answer that question, which is yes or no. But the reality
It
is
kind of is a yes or no, Jeff. Like it kind of is.
there's context here. The answer to your question is we encourage people.
Hi, welcome for everyone who's getting here. Scott Metalhead, how do you join to what? Are you wanting to become a member? Because actually, I think I can do it this way. If you're on an iPhone, apparently you can't do it on an iPhone, but maybe on an Android and definitely on a computer is what I've been told. If that's what you're asking. Shout out to Amethyst Noor. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, it's your tag is this one, official. And yeah, I love that you guys are just now getting here. I honestly, this shit is so good. This shit is so good, and so was the documentary thing that we went. Not a documentary, but the other dude. It's just so good. I'm
To
pulling up more
explore
stuff.
their spiritual, their inner world. And it's just an invitation to explore.
It's just an invitation to explore,
But
guys.
so then that's an easy
You're
no to the question. Have you ever told anybody that they are a divine masculine?
Well,
Like it's not a trick question.
There's thousands of hours of content. And so like you might find somewhere in there something looking like me saying that.
There are a number of people who have said that they were told not only who their twin flame was within the community, but that they were the wrong gender. And it kind of is a yes or no answer.
We operate in a very particular way. And the way that we operate is what we've been communicating the entire time. And there's nothing nefarious about how we operate. And it generates profound positive results in people's lives, and it doesn't harm anyone. And so when you're asking these questions, it's from a particular context. And that context simply does not fit the context that we teach in, that we live in, that we help people with.
Except in the concerns about twin flames universe, one of the biggest, most harmful allegations is that you are dictating people's gender and that they are taking it to extreme lengths, including having surgeries and hormone therapies and changing their gender.
Well,
And so I think it's a fair question.
of course.
That's a yes
You
or
don't
a
even
no,
know.
and there's not really
don't
a ton
even
of nuance in it.
Great.
So is it a yes or a no? Have you told people to change genders?
We've invited people to explore their gender.
So you want to stay with that?
That is the truth. That is the whole truth. That's nothing but the truth.
Okay.
Oh my God.
And that invitation to
That sounds
explore
so much like
gender
pork.
comes from God?
No, it comes from a human talking to a human.
No, but
Like-
do you get the message from God that someone is in the wrong gender?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. The thing
If you could give me a moment.
The thing
To collect my-
is that for anyone who's just now getting here, we watched this. This is still incredible to watch. So we had this going on, and then we had to end the live stream and start it back up again. So what ended up happening is, we had the live stream with Lori Vallow. We did a Lori Vallow, and then I had a little surprise for everybody that we were going to watch this these cult people, and like it's just gone from there because it's just so good. And so like this is just so crazy. Like you
Invitation to explore gender
Mhm.
comes from God?
No, it comes from a human talking to a human.
No, but
Like-
do you get the message from God that someone is in the wrong gender?
If you could give me a moment
incredible.
to collect myself.
This is
Thank you.
incredible. And this part is so awkward. Look at, oh my God. Guys.
God is a loving being.
This is real life. In case
God
you're
wants the
wondering.
best for us.
In case
I am not God.
In case anyone's like, what is this? And this is real life. And by the way, he says he's not God, but in the other one that we watched, literally there's billions of clips of him saying he is God and he is Jesus. So they impeach him. But I don't think that happens in this one because it's just the interview. Anyway, you can't make this up.
God is a loving being. God wants the best for us. I am not God. I have never claimed to be God.
I'm
Lies.
not saying that, Jeff. I'm
Hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
I've never claimed to be God.
Yes, you have.
I teach people how to have a relationship with God. And God is love. And God is found in your heart.
I agree,
God
man.
is found in the love in your heart. And when you have a relationship with the love in your heart, it has a profound transformative impact on your life.
So my question was, do you get a message from God about somebody's gender?
It
Do you
doesn't
cha-
work that way, no.
There's no channeling from God about what someone's gender should be?
So
He did
we,
say he did say it was channeling for the recipes, though.
as professionals, in our work,
Every moment of this is pure gold. Anybody that watched this earlier, I mean, literally every single moment of this is incredible. This is
Channeling from God about
Oh my
what
God.
someone's gender should be?
so
Oh my
we
God.
as professionals, in our work,
professional con artists,
get intuitive
professional criminals.
hits, you might say. Hey, this might be a good idea.
Oh my
It's
God.
explorative.
Oh my
Like
God.
this heavy frame is just not the reality.
But Jeff, it's a heavy consequence to have kind of a whim that someone might be a different gender.
It's not a whim.
But what did you just describe it as?
So we talk about having an intuitive, experience. Hey, maybe explore this. Hey, that might be fun. It's innocent. It's from a creative place. It's from a light place. And we explore.
Well, and the other thing too is for anyone who didn't see this already, he's going to start crying here pretty much consistently throughout the end of this interview.
These difficult,
Really good.
heavy spiritual concepts, but it's done with lightness. And you're going to go through on the spiritual journey difficult things. We're going to navigate really uncomfortable situations together. And that's what
I
we
know,
do.
y'all.
That's what our spiritual community supports.
But you see what I'm saying about you getting an intuition of someone's gender, and then the consequence of them hearing that.
I get how this all looks, but it's just not true.
Yeah, I agree with them.
She
It's
agrees.
just the framing of it. It's just- yeah.
It feels unfair to you.
Yeah. Mhm.
What are the different businesses that are in the Twin Flames universe umbrella?
Oh, great.
I mean, we're here to talk about twin flames.
But that's part of it, right?
What are you here to talk about? Like, I'm not trying to be evasive here, but like, you're starting to get into a whole lot more subject.
He's like,
What's
he's like, I'm not trying to be evasive here. And tries to be evasive.
this from being a pyramid scheme?
Oh my God, this part wasn't in the other one. I don't think this was in the pyramid scheme. This was totally left out. This is why I wanted to watch this full interview. Yeah, thank you, lady.
What are you here to talk about? Like, I'm not trying to be evasive here, but like, you're starting to get into a whole lot more subject.
What stops this from being a pyramid scheme?
I mean, it's not. Can you define what a pyramid scheme is?
Oh my God, I'm going to lose my mind between Heather with the tiny waterfall and this question and his answer. Wow.
What are you here to talk about? Like, I'm not trying to be evasive here, but like,
Oh my God.
you're starting to get into a whole lot more subject.
What stops this from being a pyramid scheme?
I mean, it's not. Can you define what a pyramid scheme is?
Well,
Literally the same exact way they answered the questions. So it's like, what makes this not a cult? And he's like, it's not. Can you define what a cult is? Literally the same.
the structure seems to be that there is wealth at the top
I can't.
and that anyone's wealth below is reliant on bringing in more people below that.
Yeah, it's
below
just not
that.
true.
But
God.
on this,
Oh my God, look at him freaking the fuck out. This is crazy.
the structure seems to be that there is wealth at the top and that anyone's wealth below is reliant on bringing in more people below that.
Yeah, it's just not true.
But on this concept of a pyramid scheme or multi-level marketing, that people are constantly having to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to get the training, and that the only way that they can make money back is by bringing in new people. That it's kind of this pyramid.
I mean, that's an unfair assessment to say that we're a pyramid scheme. We're not. Many businesses function just like this.
Don't go chasing tiny waterfalls. Just stick to what should he stick to? Just stick to the cults and the schemes. Just stick to the cults and the peens that you're used to. I don't know. I can think of something better. Give me a moment.
It's not uncommon.
Pyramid. That's
there we go. There we go. Just stick to the cults and the schemes. That'll work.
The definition of a pyramid scheme seems to be what's happening with the Twin Flames universe when it comes to coaching and master classes, master coaches versus, right? I mean, do you know what I'm saying?
We're here to serve, so when you look at how to make money, it's very simple. You have value.
Wow.
And that value has to exchange from one party to another. And we teach how to create value and to share it with other people.
Literally try to just fabricate it, right? Because there's no product, there's no service being offered, there's no training experience. In fact, it's criminal activity. So the value that they offer, that you pay them for, is liability whenever eventually these people wind up. For anyone who just got here, they're under investigation right now, all right, with the IRS and I think other entities as well. The feds, they're under investigation. They're still an active cult with an active YouTube channel and putting out content. It's insane.
And so
I know. Thank you.
One of the things that Twin Flames Universe does is it offers extensive training to certify coaches to be able to serve other people.
It's wild that they're not laying low. Like they're doubling down, they're tripling down. Like they're like, it's crazy.
People on their Twin Flame journey.
Certified by whom?
Yes.
Well, by our spiritual community. There's extensive training that they have to undergo. We are the...
But training developed by whom?
Right, by our spiritual community and by this teaching. We're the thought leader on Twin Flames.
But this is one of the allegations against you, that you are wholly unprepared and untrained and unskilled
to
deal
silly,
with
guys.
people who are vulnerable, who are coming to you in a vulnerable state.
So we love people, but if they're having mental health issues, that's outside of our scope. Or if they're having a medical issue, that's outside of our scope. And we regularly refer people to Western medicine, to doctors.
their MAP thing. What did it stand for again, Heather? The MAP business they have, whatever the fuck it was, MAP. Literally, that was their thing where they're like trying to treat people with trauma and PTSD without any training and without any of the stuff.
To their doctor, if they're having an emergency, to go to the ER.
You're treating PTSD. I mean, that's a
I'm
serious.
not treating PTSD. Absolutely not.
Oh, dear.
We are healing trauma and addressing trauma, and that can result in people's PTSD symptoms going away.
And did you guys set up the church specifically to avoid taxes?
That's so
No.
silly. We're the church's largest donor. It's
You're
designed
on
to.
video, literally saying that's why you did it. She'll say, I'm sure she'll confront them with it. I mean, it's on. He's on video. Like,
Support the spiritual community and the spiritual teaching.
Yeah.
So there was no decision or no discussion, videotape discussion or email discussion about how to avoid paying taxes.
I
and
mean,
setting up the church.
in business, it's very normal to minimize your tax burden. That's a very that's standard. It's that's basic. Why would you pay more taxes than you are supposed to? We've always ensured we pay our fair share of taxes. You can't avoid the tax person. There's no way around that. And if there is, that's so far beyond us, and we don't have time to deal with that. We just pay our taxes and go on about serving people.
Because
is that your face on there, or is that? I mean, it's so like that looks like it can't even be real, but really pretty makeup and stuff. Yeah. This is
in your church filings,
wow.
it's things like $40,000 for PR. Sorry, Nick, if he finds out that we know how much he's being paid, but like, there are PR fees in your church filings.
Okay.
Well, how does that get explained?
I mean, our whole community came together to pay that.
Oh my God.
Like we're all
whole
paying
community
to support.
Is impacted by what happened. It didn't just happen to Jeff and I. It happened to everyone that's in our community. And so we all collectively came together and asked for the support that we needed
Financial support.
Sure.
for
And-
PR.
yeah, for PR.
It
Because
happened to
you
everyone.
can't navigate, this kind of situation alone. And I don't think it's fair to say we shouldn't have support navigating this.
But why would that come out of the church?
It comes out of the whole community of which we are a part and of which we contribute to the largest amount.
Yeah.
What about golden children?
Another passing idea.
Yeah, it was a passing idea. Just a thought, just playing around with an idea.
It was a silly idea. And we explored it for a very short period of time and moved on.
Do you think that it's possible that you will one day see inviting people to explore the divine masculinity and the divine femininity as a silly idea that you should move away from? That doesn't really be part of your...
Yeah, any of it. There's no sacred cows here. Like even the twin flame concept, like it's okay if it's misproven. I didn't come into this from a spiritual perspective. I grew up Catholic, and
Where you start to get crying.
I left the religion in the church because of their stance on gay marriage. I felt that if two people loved each other, they should.
Crazy.
Right.
Oh my God.
Very passionate about this. They should
my
be
God.
allowed to get married. It was so painful to leave my church and my religion because of a disagreement. But I knew what was in my heart, and I followed that with courage, and it led me to a new path, and that new path is beautiful for me.
Why does that make you so sad?
I loved the Catholic Church. I have so much love for Jesus. And it was so hard for me to leave that all behind and follow my truth.
Oh boy.
But it was the right thing to do.
But
Absolutely.
Jeff, why is this making you so upset?
I loved my church.
But your church didn't have, you still could be a part of it.
Remember, this is all an act. This is all an act because there's this whole history of this cult, right? And the thing that they do for anyone who's missed it, they force people to change genders, right, in their cult. So they are they're pairing people together and then requiring them to change genders because their belief is that you can only either be 100% male or 100% female. There's no in between. That's their belief. So they force people to change genders. And so to push back on those allegations, that's what this whole dog and pony show is about, as they say.
Church.
To summarize it.
No, it didn't agree with its fundamental principles. How could I be a part of something that I don't agree with? And it's okay. Like, I'm not mad at the church. It has its, the Catholic Church. It has its viewpoint, and I respect it. And I respect why it feels that way. And it led me to.
And the thing is, it's like inception-y, right? Because it's like believing in Jesus, like now he is Jesus. So like, I guess that's how he kind of reconciled it, right? Like leaving the church, and he's like, I miss Jesus, and I'm crying because I miss Jesus. And it's like, well, no worries, because you just replaced him. That's what he says anyway.
Exploring different spiritualities, and it was
right,
beautiful.
Heather.
It's been nothing but beautiful for my life.
That's a good
But
idea.
I can't deny how hard it's been.
Right.
And it led me to this idea about masculine and feminine, that, there is a way that everyone wins, that the LGBTQ plus community can win and have agreement here with these, traditional views that it's only a man and a woman.
What kinds of investigations are being launched against you both and Twin Flames Universe right now?
Yeah, none.
There's none that, yeah.
Not true.
There's none.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I think there were detectives that came to our door in Farmington Hills, but they found nothing, and we answered them honestly, or I think you did.
She had just gotten surgery.
I just had dental
she literally
surgery
came
that
back
morning.
from surgery, and she's sitting in the chair, not 30 minutes coming back from this, pretty intense surgery, and there's detectives at my door.
Yeah.
Well, there was an article.
Oh my God. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So Kane, so I should give you guys an update. So Kane, so I did actually just get a notification. It's not that big of a deal. So I just got a notification as far as the part of the last stream. I guess Kane may have supposed to gone and looked. So they said it was the people talking about the group of people, whatever that was from. It was that channel. So it did end up being copyrighted, but it's the kind that doesn't matter. It's like nothing happened. I think it's the type that if I wanted to monetize the video, I could cut that part out or whatever. It's like the last 2 minutes or whatever. I could cut it out. But I'm not going to do that because then you lose the live chat and live chat replay. So, it doesn't affect the channel. It's not a big deal. It's totally fine.
And she's sitting in the chair, not 30 minutes coming back from this, pretty intense surgery, and there's detectives at my door.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Why is he talking about her surgery and then he becomes a different person all of a sudden?
She had dental
literally
surgery
came
that
back
morning.
from surgery, and she's sitting in the chair, not 30 minutes coming back from this, pretty intense surgery, and there's detectives at my door.
Yeah.
Well, there was an article.
Oh,
Can we come and talk to you? We're like, yeah, come on in. I got nothing to hide.
No.
And,
IRS?
no.
Never. Like I
No.
said, we pay our taxes. Like
Mhm.
I have a business degree. Like I'm very respectful of the IRS. I know what they can do to you. I'm not here to try to mess with those people. Like we have accountants and we have attorneys, and they look through all of our things and our books, and
Mhm.
they make sure that we're not even in the gray area with these things. We're very much very well within all laws and all
Going to go to
legalities.
jail.
And can you tell me a little bit about Grace?
I mean,
And where does
The
she
thing is this, they would have done better had they not made a video where they literally said that they started the church solely for the reason for tax evasion. So that then they don't have to pay taxes. And not only that, then they can make people work as volunteers, and then they can also accept donations. And there was like a fourth and fifth reason as well. Basically, it was like tax evasion, tax fraud, plus then some, basically.
fit into the twin flames of you two?
She's more like a monastic soul. That's how we've always felt her.
This is the part, they're talking about their daughter and how, so for their daughter, she's the one exception. She's not going to get a twin flame. They want her to be a virgin forever. This is crazy.
And that's what our logic and our intuition has led us to believe. But I'm still going to teach her about, sex and sexuality. And
What does that mean, a monastic soul?
someone who is whose life path is dedicated to God as their love or lover alone.
So celibate, sorry. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
Also,
nun or a
like
monk.
Like a nun.
like a nun or a monk.
You guys are on a journey that people are watching and following very closely because they believe in you.
Yeah,
And you're experimenting with things that
they know that we're experimenting.
They
and
know we're
exploring.
experimenting. Yeah, trust me, people have a mind of their own in our spiritual
Oh
community.
my
Very
God. Yeah,
much
you
so.
hate that.
They don't
And
always.
They have tried very hard to shut that out, shut it down. No mind, bad mind. You get the front hand and the front of the hand and the back of the hand.
Listen to us
Yep.
and like that's okay. I don't really care. It's your life.
What's the future for you guys? Is this all going to come crashing down?
No.
No, I think if anything, we're only going to continue to thrive and be a shining light on the world because I feel very
Kane, did you go to sleep and wake up and then we were on the new stream? This is just
strongly that we have something that's critically important to the world, and it's love, and it's
Aw.
the type of love that everyone
will kill you.
desires,
Or
or
you
most people
said to
desire
Daybell?
and yearn for, and that it's here. It's a very practical spirituality that you can apply in your daily life all the time, and it will bring you closer and closer to the divine and just have amazing positive effects on your life.
Mhm.
Why are you getting all misty-eyed?
I'm thinking about Jesus. Sorry, we go back to the other part of
It's
just thinking about, because it's very healing to address that, to talk about, why I left the Catholic Church and my views on the LGBTQ plus community and, my love for Jesus. Yeah, so just thinking about that.
Are victims, they're not victims and they're not brainwashed. They're very smart people and they can choose to be with Twin Flames Universe or not be with Twin Flames Universe. And, the love and support is quite overwhelming. Like they love it. They love the work,
guys.
and they're here because they know that what they receive just benefits their life, like completely.
And, there are people who have been in the Twin Flames universe for a long time and the promises
It's so
have
good.
not come true yet. When do you realize maybe we don't have the answer for everybody?
I mean, we don't have the answer for everybody, There's God in everything. There's truth in everything. Everyone has their own path. This is not, the end of all other paths. This is just one good path that works for us and works for those who are interested in trying it out for themselves.
But it kind of messes up the business model, right? If you can't, if people don't get all that you've promised in the wealth, the love, the twin flame.
I mean, it's a spiritual process, and when you work the spiritual process, your life improves. That's what we have found to be true.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an individual journey. Everyone has to take it at their own pace. That's like right for them and compassionate for them.
And how is your relationship?
It's really good.
This is great.
Good.
Yeah, we're very happy.
Great.
We're very in love. I start to cry. Yeah.
This is y'all.
It's very it's very sacred to us. It's like our altar.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Jeff with my whole heart, and I'll be with him forever. I've never been so happy in my entire life.
But the business doesn't continue without that love for each other, right? It's
I
all
don't know.
built on your twin flame union.
Yeah, our whole life is. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's built on our relationship with God.
You're king, you do.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God.
I would rather not
Heather,
be
hang
in a
hang on. Don't you? They need to build an ark so they can survive the tiny waterfall.
world without God. If God isn't real, then take me away. I don't want any part of that. I believe God is real.
Take me away. Take you away where?
Relationship with God.
Yeah.
So I would rather not be in a world without God. If God isn't real, then take me away. I don't want any part of that. I believe God is real. And I built everything on him.
Well, some of them have been with you for a really long time, and obviously they don't have the wealth that you have, and they don't have the twin flame that you have.
I mean, everyone's got their own personal
They
journey.
got their own twin flame. They have their own journey.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone like really wants a house this big. Like,
I don't recommend it to most people.
Yeah,
It's
really.
a
Oh my God.
lot of work.
it's a lot of work, you know.
Mhm.
I remember
But you know what? It's not for them. You know why? Because they've got a house full of slaves that do all the work at the house. So yeah.
being told growing up, like, you know, either you own the house or the house owns you.
And what's it for you guys? Does the house own you, or do you own the house?
We have the house in order to support us to be
Mhm.
able to share this message with the world. If
Yeah.
we weren't interested in continuing past this point, I wouldn't need a house this big.
Wait, is that because you're going to turn it into a compound after all? Wait, hold on. That's got to be what he means, right? That's literally the end of this. Hold on. But don't worry, there's more.
Do you own the house?
We have the house in order to support us to be
Mhm.
able to share this message with the world. If
Yeah.
we weren't interested in continuing past this point, I wouldn't need a house this big.
Yeah, why do you need the house to do what you do unless you're going to build a compound? I mean, which there was already talk of that. So, okay. So don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys, because we're going to just do some moments here. I've got other things ready to go. Yeah, I can't. My face hurts. My face hurts. That's all I need anymore. That's all I need I just need that. That's all I need in life. It's a great point there. I just wanted to just watch a couple little moments again because it's just the waterfall of it all. And also the smacking of the hands. There's just some moments here. It's pure gold. It's pure gold.
Shalia Divine. For years, this house and the grounds have been a fixture in their online videos.
I got to show you that waterfall, though. Oh, there's a little waterfall coming out of the spa.
Yeah, I think it's just a drainage spigot for the other thing. Like it just looks like a drainage, anyway, it's a water.
Nice little living room. We got $15,000 in crystals here.
Right? The hot tub drain.
To tell the
That's right, the hot tub drain, yes.
story of what's happening behind this door, we first need to go back to 2014, just before Shalia met Jeff for the first time.
Oh my God.
It's actually good. So you get a little history of how they got together.
We're about to meet. I'm sitting in the car and I'm waiting and I'm so excited. Yeah, I got those butterflies happening.
It begins as a love story, one that has spawned a lucrative and controversial spiritual movement, a movement defectors call a cult, one that controls, coerces, and even convinces followers into changing genders.
Yeah, we like to go to Tim Hortons.
She was born in Toronto, Megan Plant, and grew up a small-town girl outside North Bay, Ontario, before changing her name to Shalia.
How did we initially meet online, Shalia?
Well, it began in a little country called Canada.
Introduced virtually by a mutual friend, Shalia was deep into New Age spirituality. Jeff was a business school grad living in Hawaii, trying to develop a lifestyle and adventure business. Over the years, he changed his name to Ender, then Ionethos, then Shafira. For the first 4 months, they dated online.
She was cute on Facebook, and then she was really cute on Skype. And then in person, it was like, oh my God, I lost my shit.
From like the second time, like I love him, and like when I just knew. I just knew.
In that first blush of new love, the couple set up this YouTube channel called Awakened Intimacy.
Thank you so much for joining us on our second video.
Those early videos were sweet and just so normal. Jeff and Shalia shared everyday moments of their twin flame love.
That's twin flame kisses. All right, I love you too.
Yeah, I love you.
Fresh-faced and clean-cut, they were a totally relatable, sometimes goofy couple who looked madly in love.
We moved Jeff is making his entrance like a princess. Hi.
They were broke, lived in a dingy apartment, drove an old beat-up car. But Jeff made it clear he wanted to be rich.
We're gonna be really wealthy. And I'm not saying that because I want to like make up for some childhood trauma or something. I'm saying that because a great deal of wealth is appropriate for me.
Their views exploded
Like
from
that
hundreds to thousands.
It's so insane. I know I pointed out before, but I still can't wrap my head around this. This is why I had, like I said, when this popped up on YouTube like yesterday morning and I watched some of this, I was like, this is the craziest shit I've ever seen. And like, I figured you guys probably already had seen this and knew about it because like I'm not up on things. And I figured like y'all would already be like, oh yeah, we already know. And like, but my mind was like, look, if people haven't seen this, this is the craziest shit ever. And like, it's also related to Lori Vallow because that the cults, right? And I was like, okay. And then I was like, but we need to watch this because this is craziness.
I'm not saying that because I want to like make up for some childhood trauma or something. I'm saying that because a great deal of wealth is appropriate for me.
Their views
so far, it seems like none of you guys have heard of this. I mean, so I mean, it's what this is what it is. It's right. It does get dark. It does take dark turns, but honestly, the thing is there's so much to laugh at, especially because y'all in the chat are the fucking funniest people on the fucking planet. And literally, even when we did this round one, right, hours ago, I was like saying how like, you know, my face hurts and like belly laughing, but also while being like horrified at the same time. So, you know, good balance. So, yeah.
We're gonna be really wealthy, and I'm not saying that because I want to like make up for some childhood trauma or something. I'm saying that because a great deal of wealth is appropriate for me.
What's weird about it is like with all these different cult leaders, right? Like, you know, again, I've sort of thought see some overlaps like Nexium, and you know, they all usually what they do is they're gonna that's their motivation. They want to be wealthy. They end up being wealthy, but they still act modestly, right? Like they're going to lie about it and they're going to live, they're going to have, or they're going to at least pretend to have some sort of humility or whatever. Not this dude. It's very interesting. No, I did not. I know there is a Netflix series about them and also an Amazon Prime one. I didn't know that existed until we watched this and then they mentioned it, but no, I did not. But honestly though, this, you know, I prefer to not have the narrative, and this journalist does a great job. And the other thing about this journalist is they reached out to her, and she's the only person they've ever given an interview to. So like, it was after those other documentaries came out that they contacted this journalist and said, and this email, they show the email here, and the emails in the subject says, "We are not a cult," and they requested to sit down with her for an interview. So, so anyway. So let me skip ahead a little bit here. That's that poor lady. Okay, the mirror thing. Okay.
And every negative emotion you have is something that you created, and it's your job to heal. And if your twin flame doesn't love you, it's because you don't love yourself.
If you're the type of person that prefers not to take personal responsibility for your life,
why are you on this channel?
And you're the one that has to resolve it in order to clear the block.
Victoria says the mirror exercise isn't about healing. It's about breaking people down in a never-ending cycle of self-blame, with more and more classes to buy to clear the blocks and heal the upsets.
And so it becomes a form of self-abuse and control. Any negative emotion, any negative encounter, now it's your fault.
Most students weren't seeing results, but it was definitely paying off for Jeff and Shalia.
Today, we just discovered that we're not just millionaires, we're multi-millionaires.
Their Instagram feed a nonstop highlight reel of luxury.
Yeah. Lifestyle of the multi-millionaires, of the rich and famous.
Designer everything, the 5-bedroom mansion, high-end cars. All of this paid for by students desperate to heal their way to love.
Yeah, so they're called Twin Flames is the cult. But I forget what the Netflix show is called. But it's like, I think there's one called, like, they have the Netflix one and the Amazon one, and they'll mention them. But one's like Leaving Twin Flames, and then I forget what the other one is.
In 2018, Twin
Love or something.
Flames universe stepped out of the internet and into real life.
Oh, this is great. This is great. Watch how awkward this is, guys.
There was a small meetup in New York.
The golden age has begun.
Jeff and Shalia introduced the concept of soul family, pairing up followers into spiritual family members.
Oh, thank you, Meg.
The next year, an even larger gathering.
Like, what are you saying about writing? Leslie and Heather. Did I miss something? Are Heather and Leslie going somewhere? Are they writing something?
In Canada.
We're in Toronto, Ontario, here for our very first Twin Flames Universe Ascension Workshop.
About 100 followers, including Angie and Victoria, went to the 4-day event.
This was the best weekend of my life, and we're so looking forward to the next one.
Jeff and Shalia were treated like spiritual rock stars.
Thank you, and take care.
Thank you, everyone.
They started calling themselves gurus. Former followers say,
yes, the names I suggested were not accurate at all. Thank you, Meg, for these. Escaping Twin Flames on Netflix and Desperately Seeking Soulmate on Prime.
They are grifters. The entire Twin Flames universe business model is built like a pyramid.
Yeah, we'll let you guys
New students at the bottom. Then students who have paid tens of thousands of dollars to become coaches. Above them, master coaches who have paid even more. At the very top, Jeff and Shalia. Students pay them thousands directly for online group meetings, and then hundreds a month to coaches for one-on-one counseling. Each coach is also expected to pay for sessions with other coaches, and all coaches have to give 50% of their earnings to Jeff and Shalia. Everyone in this pyramid is expected to work to bring new members in.
It just becomes your whole life.
It's not just sapping their money, it's also their time. When Victoria was a follower, there was an entire management structure, staffed almost exclusively by volunteer followers. Victoria held a slew of jobs.
Okay, so we're going to get to this part. This might be the part. Okay, this is one of the ones where he scolds people. Okay, the scolding is great. So we're going to watch some of that scolding.
Punishment. Income.
Who's going to get the new clients?
Okay.
Universe. So you can be stripped of your ability to coach.
Who's going to get the new clients? The ones who work and produce the most value within our new system. Lazy Bones is one, no longer going to get clients funneled to them, and two, no longer going to hold a position which holds everyone else up.
Twin Flames Universe has evolved from a spiritual matchmaking group into an empire. They have a company that claims to heal PTSD and trauma, another called Divine Dish, which is a paid subscription for recipes. And bizarrely, the movement took a deeply religious turn. With Jeff and Shalia now spouting much more than just New Age philosophies.
This might be the part where he says he's Jesus.
Has Christ come again?
Great. So for anyone who just is joining us on this round, and we said in the earlier part with the interview, just like 20 minutes ago or whatever, how like he literally says he's God or whatever. And I said they played those clips on the other thing. This is the other thing. So we're seeing him call himself Jesus slash God.
Just New Age philosophies.
Has Christ come again? He's got the beard, the hair. Could I be the Christ? I'm not hiding anything. Like, I'm literally telling you I'm Christ.
God's been telling us, we're the second coming of the Christ.
The images of Jesus is the image of Jeff. That's the prophecy you've been looking for.
I'm banging the Christ.
I feel like originally it was just a business model. He saw a way
By
to
the
make
way,
money. I feel
Prophecy you've been looking for.
By the way, y'all can follow them on Instagram. Those of you guys who have Instagram, I don't. You can follow them on Instagram. You can see the handle up there. They still have active Instagram accounts. Like I said, these people are all over social media. You can follow them on Instagram. Those of you guys who have it, I would highly recommend for many purposes. Feel free to troll.
I'm banging the Christ.
Right.
I feel like originally it was just a business model. He saw a way to make
We're going
money.
to get to the part.
But I feel like
Okay.
Disobeying them
Here we go.
was disobeying God.
Thanks.
So when God tells you something, you need to respect it. If he says that's your twin flame, respect it. If he says you are this, respect it. And sometimes it's going to be really, really, really hard. But if you don't, then you're a coward.
And
Wait,
this
that's
is
what
so
she's-
that
Wait,
you understand that.
Wait. Hold on.
And sometimes it's going to be really, really, really hard.
That's what she said.
But if you don't, then you're a coward.
And this is so that you understand that your choice has been out of order, so you can make a new choice.
You can respect God's word, or you can throw a tantrum and be a little jerk, be an immature child, and then you're going to get spanked by the universe. Until you take the position of a completely obedient child, you're not going to be happy.
They call it the all-seeing eye for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot escape God's gaze. Why would you want to?
Course of control is very real, and it's done over time.
Your thoughts are controlled. You can't feel anger. You can't feel sadness. You can't be upset. So
your choice has been out of order, so you can make a new choice.
You can respect God's word, or you can throw a tantrum and be a little jerk, be an immature child, and then you're going to get spanked by the universe. Until you take the position of a completely obedient child, you're not going to be happy.
They call it the all-seeing eye for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot escape God's gaze. Why would you want to?
Course of control is very real, and it's done over time.
your thoughts are controlled. You can't feel anger. You can't feel sadness. You can't be upset.
I'm feeling very tired.
Of Jeff and Shalia Devine.
I just want to make everyone aware I'm looking and feeling very tired.
What?
I said I'm looking and feeling very tired.
Okay.
A follower who takes care of Grace hangs out in the background.
Maybe if you move your sweater and then you can come back after I read her story.
Okay.
It looks like I'm just sitting. In reality, I'm managing lots of things. I'm feeling lots of things. I feel like a man's job, at least for me, is to support my wife so she can support our child. And Grace comes to me and we interact when she feels fit. Hey, Miss Christina. Charlie potty on the carpet here. Can you help us clean this up?
Where he says he's just sitting
Jeff
there.
and Shalia.
Sitting there doing nothing.
It's like I'm just sitting.
If you move your sweater and then you can come back after I read her story.
Okay.
It looks like I'm just sitting. In reality, I'm managing lots of things. I'm feeling lots of things. I feel like a man's job, at least for me, is to support my wife so she can support our child. And Grace comes to me and we interact when she feels fit. Hey, Miss
Now we're
Christina.
gonna switch over real
Charlie
quick.
potty on the carpet here. Can you help us clean this up?
Okay, hold on. Now we're gonna switch real quick. To give me just a second. Bam. Hold on. Did you guys hear how this starts? Hold on.
Twin Flames live talk show.
Yeah, here we are.
Here we are. I'm your host, Jeff, and here is my lovely wife and twin flame, Shalia. Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I'm so happy that you decided to come.
Yeah, I had to come. I'm usually always
That's what she
watching
said.
live and like, you know, in the comments and chatting with people and, you know, reading the comments and stuff. But I thought, maybe I'll just slide into this one and, you know, say hi and
Well, so glad to have you. It's almost like the old T-Fest days.
sort of, except for YouTube / like live in our Facebook group.
This
which
one
so
is
awesome.
called
Well, it's nice.
Jeff.
'Cause in
This
this
one is
live,
called Jeff Makes His Twin Flame Cry.
the very last talk show, we're going to spend the whole time answering your questions. So I know some of you already know, and you can already get going. I've got my laptop over here in order to read the questions off. So feel free to get started on asking your questions.
Yeah.
It's like a TFAS class, only everyone is invited.
Yeah.
And this is just so special. It's so near and dear to our hearts. If you don't know, TFAS stands for TFAS, or Twin Flame Ascension School. It is the legendary school which teaches you not only how to have harmonious union with your true twin flame, which it's been immensely successful at that, but it teaches you how to live a more peaceful and harmonious life, how to get everything that you want.
And the replay value is
Huge.
Huge.
We've got ascension coaches, certified ascension coaches, who've watched all 450 hours of Twin Flame Ascension School, the all classes pass, all the way through already, and they're going for their next lap. And over the years, I'm sure they'll get many, many laps. It's just such a valuable opportunity. Highly recommend you check it out. If you go to our website, Twin Flame Ascension School, or twinflamesuniverse.com, you can go to that website, so it'll redirect you. You can get yourself a login for free and get I think it's 5 classes you can watch for free, and they're 90 minutes. It's quite a good value. So I'm gonna check over here to the Facebook, and we'll see if we've got any questions yet from the group.
I think you have to refresh it.
Yeah.
Yeah, ask your questions. We'd love to help you on your twin flame journey, wherever you are on your twin flame journey, whether you're in separation or union, or you're in harmonious union, married even. And, you know, wherever you are, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to ask your questions in the group.
So I see it here on the phone, but I don't see it on the Facebook group yet. So let me just hit refresh again. It should be here, and there's 49 people watching.
Okay, give us a second. Click on your name, yeah? Click on your name. Will that show
Maybe.
you?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks so good. Look at us.
Sweet. Go by comments. Okay.
Okay, I think we're here. We're about to check out the comments. Here we go. I think I see this might be a question from Azul. Azul says, in my journey through teachings of your teachings in Shalia, I'm realizing that the twin flame path is probably the least about achieving the desired harmonious union. For my part, I'm discovering what I desire the most is the peace that I find after each block healed. I want to live in that peace and unconditional love for myself and my relationship with God. How much truth is there in this? How can I really live in the present and in this connection with God? I'm tired of feeling bad, and I'm ready to be okay. This is a great question.
That's a good question.
She's really saying, she realized, a lot of people come here for twin flames. They come here because they hear the call. And we described this in our YouTube video, Twin Flames Explained.
Yeah.
And we talk about how twin flames are a call to ascension, a call back home to your creator. And once you realize that that's the reality of what it is, once you recognize that you are ascending your vibration, and that even though your twin flame is every single person's always said when they have harmonious union, far higher than their insanely high expectations.
Yep.
We're talking about sex.
Even though that's the reality, everyone comes to realize
The union is
that's
the
just
sex.
the tiniest little piece of what is here. This is the tiniest piece of the kingdom of heaven, and it's a fundamental, foundational piece. But the commenter was asking, how do I have that peace everywhere in my life?
I think for me, just releasing expectations and attachments. I think really attachments is like the big thing. Being okay with what happens, you know. And I
Let's
think
see what
that's
the next
really
question is.
secret to peace is I don't mind what happens, and it doesn't mean that you.
When it's all complete, you're gonna feel really bad for a really long time. But if you recognize that it's a journey and that there's joy in raising that blacksmith shop, there's joy in raising those
That's
tables,
accurate. They're
there's
going to make you feel
joy
really
in
bad
making
for a really
your
long
balance,
time.
there's joy in seeing the kingdom come together. And you can just see it as you getting to know every little piece of the kingdom. You don't need to see it as unfinished. You can see it as complete, and you're coming to see it. But more than that, it's important to recognize that there is peace and there is joy in the process. And if you don't find that joy and that peace and that delight and that fulfillment in the process, you're going to be just as miserable as if you didn't have the process at all. And if you don't recognize that the process is incredibly valuable, is incredibly fulfilling, has brought so much to your life just knowing the process, then you're going to feel pretty miserable. But if you recognize, you appreciate, you value what you've stumbled upon, what you've attracted in this teaching, and that you're using it to your benefit, and that the you who didn't have the teaching was not quite as well off as the you with the teaching, you're going to be very happy, and you're going to be able to cultivate that peace right now. The peace you're seeking, in summation, does not come from everything being done. It comes from knowing that everything is getting done, and that you will get it done, and that you're enjoying the process, and that it is God who moves through you to achieve it. It was God who planted the dream in your heart in the first place.
It's not even your dream. All dreams belong to God. Yeah.
Really love having you back.
Oh, you're my babe.
Okay. So Annalisa says, what is my sister going through exactly? How can I help her? What is my life purpose? And how can I figure it out? Well, I invite you to ask the question again and give us a little more detail. I know that you know that we're divine channels, but I don't really feel the need to exercise psychic abilities. So just ask us a question that we can answer live on the air without having to channel and maybe guess.
You want to scroll further up?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of questions.
Yeah.
That was just one I caught.
Right.
Oh my gosh, they're coming. These questions are
so
coming.
there's Azul. So you just scroll down from her.
Just get this closer here. Thank you for your question, Azul.
Okay, so scroll.
Okay. Oh, not a question, but I love this group. I love this group too.
Thank you.
Thanks
We
for
love
all your
this
love
group.
and all your compliments.
Thank you.
So Ajin says, can you explain what it means to explore being twin flames completely and how to know you're not giving up too soon?
Good question. This is really
Well, yeah. If you can't find a twin flame, you just change your gender, and then that's their method.
Do you want to feel it or?
Oh, a false twin flame.
Okay.
That was just my piece, Yeah.
Franks, you can ask a question.
All right, I was going to try
They
to
are
since you're here, but
No,
they are still operating and going strong despite the investigation and everything. So for a mere, what was it, $8,888, you too, Franks, can have it all and ask them your questions. They won't tell you any lies. No, wait, that's not true. So I found another one though. I found a full video of him ranting to the people, the followers. So let's take a look at that one. There's just so many. It's crazy. Okay.
Who are committed to building the website. I need to know who is my branding team and who's gonna, I need my branding team to wrap up the brand and present me something serious that they're proud of, and no more dilly-dallying or pussyfooting around, but get to work and get it done. No more hesitation and bullshitting. And if there's someone on the team or their teammates on the team that are going to hesitate and dilly-dally and bullshit and drag ass and drag their feet, demote them, get them the fuck out of the way, because they're standing in the way of not only your business thriving and succeeding, but everyone's. And they're standing in the way of the client getting what they need. And if you can't honestly uphold your position, get the fuck out of it, because we're going to bulldoze you over. There is a huge desire here in consciousness, in myself, and in my community to take things to the next level and step forward with a great deal of pride into the next chapter where you have a website, a message, a community, a sales funnel that you can be really fucking proud of, that you can link your client to our Instagram or our YouTube or any aspect of our business and be really fucking proud that you have the best TikTok in the marketplace. No one's TikTok should come close to Twin Flames Universe TikTok. No one's YouTube should come fucking close to Twin Flames Universe YouTube in likes, in comments, in views, in positioning, in quality, in engagement, in value. No one's presentation should come close on any social media. No one's followers should come fucking close to what Twin Flames Universe has. We are the only one in the industry. We're the champion of this fucking industry. Our work is the only work that actually provides any real value to anyone.
Incredible.
So our social media, our presentation, our marketing systems, our branding, everything should be in exact alignment with the actual quality of the work at the heart of this community.
Do you guys see what's on the shelf?
If our shit,
he's got all the Twilight books there on the shelf next to what looks like a crystal ball
in any place is not communicating honestly the value that we have here, which is harmonious union itself. And I just wrote a post on that. If any meme, if any social media team is not in alignment with that level of value, it's not worth it. This is the standard we must uphold. And I need solid teams of people. I want a roster for every team. I want our team, and I want this within 24 hours.
Wow.
By tomorrow night. Sooner is better. I want a full team of people on every part of my marketing data systems. I want my TikTok team fleshed out, and I want like a big TikTok team.
Wow.
And I did my part to get things started. Now you guys
they don't get paid for this, right? They are slave labor.
Dude, I want a big TikTok team because I want a TikTok team that's going to produce.
All I could think about when he says this, hold on.
You guys are going to have to do this. I want a big TikTok team because.
Does he want a big TikTok team because he doesn't have a big dick doc? If you get my drift.
I want a TikTok team that's going to produce.
We've been making jokes about that.
Videos, 40 TikToks a day. 40 TikToks a day. That's our goal.
What?
I want a team that's going to produce it. And I know I have enough people to achieve this.
That sounds insane.
And here's the secret. And I'm in no hurry to I don't need people who are not gonna step up. I don't need people who are gonna not do us right, who are not ready, who aren't gonna be capable of showing up and doing work here. But here's the secret. We're gonna have a funnel of new clients coming in. And these clients are gonna pay us more, and they're gonna treat you better, and they're gonna be handled by Twin Flames Universe. It's gonna be easy.
That's terrible, Franks. I'm sorry. I just
easy to handle these clients. Fun. All of it's handled for you.
That's funny though.
All of these new clients are gonna be coming through our new system. Wet behind the ears, ready to go.
Wow.
Who is gonna get the new clients? I'll tell you, it's gonna be real fair, and it's not gonna be equal or even. Who's gonna get all the clients? It's a question. Let me ask you, who deserves the new clients? Is it the tenured coaches who spent a lot of time building clients? Not necessarily, although your current clients will probably want to stay with you. Who's going to get the new clients? The ones who work and produce the most value within our new system, obviously. If you are working real hard in our new system, and it doesn't have to be in marketing data systems, it can be in over admin or HR or bot or security or wherever it is that you're producing value for a Twin Flames universe, you're going to get the clients. And I know, we all know, we're all part of this big team. Who's sloughing off and being a piece of shit? And we're all going to have to watch out for this. There's Lazy Bones over there fucking us all.
Wow.
Lazy Bones is one, no longer going to get clients funneled to them. And two, no longer going to hold a position which holds everyone else up. Because guess what? If you're fucking around over in the TikTok team, my client I sent my client over to TikTok and it sucks. Fuck you. My business depends on all of you.
Wow.
And I want to make sure that all of you are doing your fucking jobs. Everyone's going to be looking at everyone else.
Wow.
Hey, are you upholding the standard? Sure am. Sure am. So are
Thank
you.
you,
So
Iowa.
are you. Yeah, it's going to have awesome camaraderie because we're all working together to build a beautiful thing where everyone's fucking prosperous, where everyone has a large amount of clients, many clients as you can handle.
I want to just make a note here for anyone who hasn't seen this whole thing. The thing about everyone being prosperous. So their pyramid scheme is unique in that even for people who are at the top, like right underneath them being him and Shalia, that they take 50% of the earnings from every level of the pyramid. They take 50% of all the earnings.
That feels good to you, that you can serve, that finally you are of service in the way that you want to be. Finally, you have all the clients you want. This market can support it. Finally, dweebs who are unable to actually be of service no longer, and they can't offer any real value, are leeching value, no longer getting to leech value from the system, now must make it through to serve. And guess what? I'm going to be right there working with you. I know who's not doing me right. I'm setting the pace here. And I'm telling you, you ain't meeting the pace yet. It's time to step up. And I didn't expect any different yet. It's time to step up. I need more people who can actually show up. And if you know I'm going to shut you down, you can try. If you know that you're not actually able to show up and sustainably produce value, if you're not able to have a healthy relationship with us, that's what I want you working on. That. I know I have enough people to man this new system, to build the new website, behind my copy, I know I have enough people to have the brand. I know enough people to maintain all parts of this system.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get in 40 TikToks a day, that's a goal.
I mean, that sounds insane. I don't ever use TikTok. I've never been on TikTok, but that sounds like a lot. So yes. So basically, here's what happened, right? So we had the Lori Vallow stream earlier, and then it was part of the plan was to watch the journalist interviewing these cult leaders, right, as part of that stream. And then, but then what happened was we segued into watching Flat Earthers, and there was a video that we watched at the end that it took down the stream because of like a copyright claim or whatever for that channel. And so basically I had to start another emergency live stream so we could continue on. And so just because I didn't have anything set up with for just devoted to this, basically that's why it says Lori Vallow, and that's why I saw the Lori. I just had to pick what I had already ready, but I will end up making a thumbnail for this and changing the name and all of that. The other previous stream that we just finished prior to this is Lori Vallow, has all the documents, has the interview with Colby, and then also has the first round of watching the complete interview with these people. So this is round 2.
That's goals. And that's where the bulk of our extra resources will go. But I want optimal. I want my blogs to be dominating the algorithms. Every single one dominating the algorithms.
3 YouTubes a week.
3 YouTubes a week, that's optimal?
Yeah, 3 YouTubes.
Not every day. I thought it was 3 a day.
No, I've seen 3 a week be pretty optimal.
3 a week. Well, whatever optimal
3 a
is, that's
day.
our goal. But we can start, with as many as we're capable of doing, and I'm going to be happy about that. And you know what? That is going to produce clients. But I need people by my side who are willing to work with me and who want to work hard and produce a lot of value and who want to win big in the marketplace, who want to get rich, who want to serve people, who want to build the kingdom. Those are the people that are going to stand by me. And those are the people I'm going to welcome next to me. And if you can't roll with me, if you want to be gross, if you want to be weird, if you don't want to do your inner work, if you're awkward,
what?
And there's no real place for you, you can't really vibe with the community, then you need to be off in the corner doing your inner work and sorting through that. So no more of this fuckery, of this ballyhoo, this nonsense, this bananery.
Bananery.
It's time to get into the fields and go to work. And I'm going to be there working beside you. This is where I live.
No, because you sit there. You are literally said, we just watched it a few minutes ago. You literally sit there and look like you're doing nothing and then say that you're not doing nothing because you're doing whatever the fuck it was you said you're doing. You're like, he was like, it might look like I'm sitting here doing nothing, but I'm not.
If you want to join me and partner with me, you have to actually step up. So I need all parts of my marketing data systems manned. And y'all get together and show me a list of names. Who's going to man the systems? And this should be a mad scramble for jobs. Present yourself. Some of y'all know how to present yourself for a job. Here are my qualifications. This is what I plan on doing for you. And this is what I'm capable
Remember,
of.
he doesn't pay any of them for this shit.
And you show up with confidence and a reputation to back it. And some of you don't have the best reputation.
Wow.
You show up with false confidence, and I see through your bullshit, and I see you off.
Oh my God.
Don't waste my time.
This is crazy.
And don't expect something. Expect that you're going to show up, and you're going to work, and you're going to prove to us that you're going to work. So give me your resume, and don't give it to me. I'm done with your shit. Give my team your resume, and
oh my God,
let a team assemble to make this be. Marketing data systems fully assembled. 24 hours, go. And when I see that I have a willing team who is going to work hard to the very end and produce real value, and who is eager to build this system, which is building their coaching practice, then I'm going to be eager to write some fucking good copy that is going to communicate to the new student, the one who's coming in, who's heard the call of Twin Flames and knows that we're there, who's ready to receive them. I'm going to write copy that says to those people, this is the place for you. And those are the people that you're going to want to coach because they're eager, willing students, clients, ready to learn, ready to do what's necessary to attain harmonious union, which is the foundation of heaven on earth. The system functions perfectly. This is the obvious next step. So, marketing data systems, fully manned, fully manned by capable individuals. And I'm going to push the names I see on the list. What's this person going to do? What's this person going to do? What's this person going to do? So let me go over this again. Website team. Going to build the most beautiful website that we've ever seen based on what the branding image comes up with, and a branding team who's going to finish strong and stand behind their fucking work.
Wow.
And be motivated to finish and not pussyfoot around, but fucking work and get it done. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, social media teams ready to produce fucking good content. And a list of names and who's going to do what. Put the teams together. I started. I'm not going to go through all this mamby-pamby shit. Y'all can do it.
Wow.
Here's what else I want. Blog team. Same thing. Produce fucking good blogs. And I need to know that I got a solid team there. Do I? I don't know. List the names. Show me. I want to see a marketing data system team that's fleshed out. Who's going to be the lead here. Leaders who are going to keep it all together. Show me that I've got people.
Show me the money.
Show up and work with me. And I'll help set you into motion. And then I'm going to write the copy that's going to blow y'all away. Okay?
Wow. Great. Looking forward to it. Not.
I asked for a lot, but
you're going to get a lot.
Yeah.
And you do get a lot.
Let's see what we can get in 24 hours. Okay?
Oh my God, that face. Okay, I think it should have updated the title. Cool. Okay, so I got another one. Don't worry, guys. This one is Twin Flame Sexual Trauma Healing. It continues on.
Welcome back to our channel.
So many.
And as you can see from the topic of
remember, they changed their last name to Divine.
Today, I wanted to talk about sexual trauma healing in
They have literally no training or experience or qualifications to do any of this.
your twin flame union. And this has been a theme that has occurred in our life, marriage. I brought up in the last video I shot about us having to terminate our pregnancy, so it was ectopic, how a lot of my
his stare is just so
triggers and traumas around sexual abuse came up for me. And for one, I never really wanted to talk about this publicly because I felt like it's private. I think a lot of people can understand. For me, I don't like to necessarily wave my trauma around everyone's faces unless there's a really good reason for it. And the reason is to help others heal and to share what I learned from my experience going through sexual abuse. And so I guess I want to talk about what happened to me because
I don't know that we need to hear that part. Let's skip ahead a little bit. We don't need to hear her backstory.
Very difficult that are about my childhood. My mom never making her.
Remember their whole thing, right? When people come into this whole cult and they've got their own trauma and they've got, or whatever it is, even if it's not trauma, if it's just whatever it is, right? There was this one girl on the other thing we watched from earlier that was like, I'm not available enough. I'm not enough. I'm not emotionally available enough for a relationship or something like that, right? Their whole thing is they call it the mirror therapy, where it's where you look in the mirror and you tell yourself that it's all your fault and you brought it upon yourself. So I'm not getting that vibe from her that was the path for her, but it is definitely what they tell everyone else to do. So that's noteworthy.
A medicine that is considered a cancer drug. Mind remembers everything, my higher mind. And so as I got older,
has our own journey. Yeah. Maybe many of you have, very minor traumas, light things to work through before you can have your harmonious union. And that's great. And maybe some of you have traumas that you feel are even more intense or more difficult than it just doesn't matter.
Right.
What matters is that
it doesn't matter, guys.
You have a choice. And you can either project the pain outside of you onto other people or other situations. You can project it onto the past. You can say anything but you is the reason that you're in pain.
Mm-hmm. Oh God.
And
this is exactly
that might make you feel good temporarily because in your anger, you're numbing out the pain within you. And in your projection, you're relinquishing your perceived responsibility over the pain that you're experiencing inside of you. But that is nonsense because you're never going to feel better until you feel through and heal the pain inside of you. And no one else can be responsible for your pain. Notice Shalia wasn't blaming mom for her trauma. No. She wasn't angry at mom. She might have angry feelings, but she wasn't actively generating anger or projecting her pain onto mom. She was taking full responsibility for her own experience of her own pain and her own trauma. And she was working through it one piece at a time to the best of her ability. And we assure you that this is enough. That what you are and the tools that we are giving you are more than enough to walk.
They don't have any tools, although he is a tool.
Walk courageously through the trauma. Mm-hmm. And you can heal it. And if you look at our YouTube channel from the beginning and you hear the story of Shalia's life, growing up poor, getting horrifically traumatized. When I met her, she was living in a garage on a mattress.
Wow, that's
and barely holding down a part-time job.
Wow.
And I was living under a tarp in the woods in the jungle in Hawaii. And now here we are doing very well for ourselves, living the life of our dreams, having found one another, and
having cultivated these tools and this body of work that was given to us by God, so that you can heal yourself too. And we want to show you the example of our lives, that, hey, look where we came from. And you can see us on our YouTube channel, having just come together for the first time, up until today and all the days to come that we will share.
Until you're in prison.
Look how far we've come. Look how quickly. And some people want to write us off and say, oh, that's not possible what you're doing. And I assure you, it is.
Yeah.
They would say, oh, you must be doing something illicit or sinister in order to achieve the miraculous results that you have achieved in your life. No one can dispute the miraculous results we experience. But what we say to you is that these results come from a very specific process that we've been teaching you throughout this video, that we teach you throughout all our YouTube videos, that we teach you in depth in our school and in our products, and
one you have to pay an arm and a leg for.
Larger body of work, even imbued in the consciousness and culture of our community that has been built around the body of our work. It all says you can heal yourself and you will rise above this, not by blaming people outside of you, not by projecting your responsibility to heal yourself onto others, not by cultivating anger to numb out the pain inside of you and pointing it at other people, but by taking real responsibility for your own internal experiences, feeling your feelings fully, and working through what arises. Not taking personally the experiences you have in life, like our second miscarriage.
Right.
Not saying that those experiences I do not deserve, therefore God is wrong, or God is not real, or I should take control of my life in this way.
I feel like this miscarriage has been a significant opportunity for me to heal my sexual trauma and to heal the core wound of my relationship with my mother. Like, I got to walk out of the cancer center knowing that, like, I beat my mom and I did it with love, you know, like, I'm not mad, I'm not angry, but I'm not like you and I don't have to be like you. And it's very clear to me, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that there was no pleasing you ever, that I would never be worthy of your love. So all I can do is leave that relationship because it's not a relationship. There's no relating. There's no love there. So I'm not beholden.
So it sounds like she's associated whatever it is that was causing her miscarriage, whatever that was, with the trauma from her childhood from her mom, which is interesting because remember, Jeff said when the thing about being wealthy, he was like, and it's not to heal some childhood trauma. So he's very adamant that he doesn't have any childhood trauma. He's like, it's not to heal any childhood trauma. It's like, it's because it's, what does he say? It's what I deserve, or it's what I require, or something along those words. So, but speaking of people with moms, we're going to actually switch gears back over to the Lori Vallow realm here. And we're going to watch, because we talked about this earlier, because it seems like none of you guys, at least who were there in the chat at the time, had actually seen this. So because this was brought up in the Nate Eaton interview with Colby, which we watched earlier on the other live stream. So this is Colby calling his mom for the first time in like 4 or 5 years, and also the last time. So this is like, he had planned this. She's in custody. This is from like 6 months ago or something. I'm sure he'll say, but like, this is him talking to her and trying to ask her, you know, what happened. And this is fascinating. And it's the last time he's ever going to speak to her again. So we're gonna take a look at this for some of you guys, because I think y'all said you hadn't seen it. And it's very, very interesting. And Colby's been through a lot, that's for sure.
Are you still there? Can you hear me?
I do the best.
Yeah, I do the best with what we have.
Right. You try what you can.
Yeah, are you cutting out?
Yeah. Can you hear me? I'm trying to keep it going.
Yeah, no, it's you sound good to me. I don't know if you can hear me very well.
Yeah, I can hear you pretty good. But yeah, I just.
You have all the questions and everything, but how are you doing? Are you okay?
I'm better now, if I'm being honest with you. It's taken a long process to work through all this stuff. It's been a lot of years, but I've definitely found my strength. So I think that's where I'm at right now. But
well, yeah. I know you've got to be busy with kids and everything, so that your life moves fast when you have little kids and you're doing your life. So, I didn't want any of this for you, as you know.
Yeah.
You told me that Tylee had come to you in a dream.
Right.
And you never told me what she said or what her message was to you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I always wanted to ask you privately, right? Like me and you, like, what did she say?
I don't remember. If I'm being honest with you, I don't really know if I believe in the visiting of ancestors anymore. I don't really like people who are in your family. I don't think that's something that I've ever seen biblically where like you really get visitors from your family on behalf of Christ.
I'm just pausing real quick to say the noise you're hearing in the background is from Lori because she's in prison, right? So that's the people there at the jail.
A lot of things, if that's what you're asking. I've dreamed a lot of things about you and I've dreamed a lot of things about my family, but I've never fully dreamed. I can't remember exactly what you're referring to, if that's what you're asking me.
Okay, yeah, but you called me, and so you knew something wasn't right, and you were questioning me, and you were asking, but this is before you knew anything, and you had a dream with Tylee. I'm not saying she actually visited you, but
she had an agenda. This is their first. Remember, this is this is the first time they've spoken since the kids went missing, right? So like this is it. So it's been 4 years or 4.5 years, and she had this question ready to go right out the bat when the premise of this was he was going to ask her questions. And I think what she's doing here is fishing for some sort of information about something he'd referenced years ago, I guess, right, with Tylee in a dream that she's going to use, I think was her goal to attempt to use to try to support the story she ends up trying to give him here.
You had some kind of dream that had upset you. And I wondered, because she had passed away, if she had actually visited you and told you something, because she visited me and told me plenty of things. And the very first thing she told me was, I'm sorry, Mom, for being such a brat.
Right.
That's the first thing that she told me. And it was so Tylee, and it was so her. So I just wondered if she had said something to you that you recalled. And that was such a long time ago. I just always have wondered, because I never asked you at the time, what your dream was. You just had told me that you had a dream and that she had come to you. So I wondered.
Yeah, I don't really remember, to be honest with you.
Okay. I just didn't know if that was something that. And I totally appreciate what you believe or don't believe or whatever. You know what I believe, so it's not a big secret.
Yeah, we all know.
I mean, it's what you know from when you knew me, not what you know from what police have told you or other people have told you, but what you actually know from me personally. Which that's the only other thing I wanted to ask you about, because do you remember our drive to Reno, just me and you, right?
Mm-hmm. And I remember you telling me some really out there stuff. You just told me that there's multiple lives, and I told you that's not true. And I really don't believe in that at all. I don't think anybody's ever lived multiple probations. I don't think anybody's ever come back besides Jesus himself. I don't think that's not something that we do. That's reincarnation. That's not something that Jesus ever mentioned in the Bible, ever. There's nobody who comes back and lives in flesh and is born again and has a whole nother different life and experience. So I truly knew when you told me that didn't make any sense to me, and it didn't sit right with my spirit. But I trusted you as my mom. I tried to give you the room to share with what you thought and felt But as years went by, I had to do my own research on the things. And I remember thinking, when you did that and said that, I remember thinking that's just not right in my spirit. And everybody's entitled to believe what they want. But I'm telling you, for me personally, that in no way, shape, or form do I believe that anybody's ever lived a different life. I think once you're gone, you go to heaven or wherever the Lord puts you. And that is my true conviction to myself. I don't believe in anything else.
Probably not.
Well, I honor and respect that. And then just like you said, I honor and respect what everyone else believes. They can believe whatever they want to believe, right? Like,
but don't you think that's dangerous to believe anything and just kind of have your own basis of belief rather than something that's based in truth and what the Bible says?
Okay, so I agree with you 100%. And there's a purpose for what the Bible does, and there's a purpose for what it says, and it says all the right things. And most people who ever come to this earth only come one time, and that's why the Bible is for everyone. It's not. This is higher knowledge that people who need to know it can know it, and people that don't need to know it don't need to know it. So it's not widespread. It comes directly from Jesus to me. It doesn't come from any other source. It comes from Jesus Christ to me. And so that.
Let's go back to what you said.
You had to take a break.
I feel like, honestly, that there's a lot to talk about here. Can you go over, you said Tylee's been visiting you. So I want to, there's a lot of things I want to go through, but you said Tylee visited you and spoke to you. And JJ, I heard this in your statement that you made. I wanted to know, what you mean by that. And, one of the reasons I wanted to talk, I think when we talked about Legion, let's go back to what we were talking about. So in the Bible, there's that moment, I think it's in John 5, where Jesus casts out the demons and he gets rid of them, and then the man is back to normal. You said that there was a reference to the chosen, and I wanted to hear what you said because it cut out. So what do you believe in when it comes to the zombie idea? Because that's where you were at. That's what you were telling me.
Yes, I would love to address this because I have never said the word my personal. This has gone out of control, India, whoever made up this whole zombie thing, and escalated what my basic belief was. Okay? I, Lori, have gone through my whole entire discovery, and there's not one thing. Do you know if you do a search and you do the word zombie in a search in my discovery, do you know the only thing that comes up is when JJ was ordering those little zombie babies from Minecraft. That's the only thing that comes up.
Oh dear.
In all of my 19 years of my iCloud. I was not saying that. That is not something I said. That is not something that. So yes, can evil spirits possess humans like it did in John 5? Yes, I believe that. Do I believe I have the power to cast them out? Yeah, I do. The same way he cast him out in episode 5 of season 2 of The Chosen.
Okay.
What?
So yes, those are my
You there?
Sorry, the Wi-Fi here is so terrible. It just keeps cutting out.
It's all right. Yeah, we can just go through it. So you were saying that you never said the word zombie. That was never used by you.
Ever.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, I have a lot to ask you, honestly, but I wanted to give you the floor to really say your piece. And since we're cutting out so much, maybe it's just a good time. You told me one day you'd want to say it in our last phone call. You said that you wanted to tell me what has happened. So I'm going to just give you the floor real quick. If you want to say your piece, and maybe I'll just have follow-up questions after that. But I want to go ahead, and I think you know what I'm referring to is what really happened then with my brother and my sister and this whole thing. And I know that we could talk.
We know that what we hear her tell him in this phone call is like what she's going to try to get through at her trial that starts, like, jury selection starts tomorrow. Like, this is what she's going to try to go with. This is why she's representing herself pro se. How much of this will she be able to get to? Who knows? But this is her story, and she's going to be trying to stick to it. So for anyone who hasn't heard it, now you will.
Talk about my dad, but I'm assuming that that's because of your case is a little not for right now. We can always follow up on that at some point, because I do have a lot of questions about it all. But I'm going to try to just keep it strictly to my brother and my sister. So I just want to give you the floor real quick, and I think we'll just kind of go from there.
Well, it's obviously different than what everyone else thinks, and I don't know that if you knew the truth of what really actually happened, if you would want it to be in public forum, Colby. I mean, I talk to you personally. I know that you are the only person on this planet, to me, who loved Kylie and JJ as much as I do. The only person. So in all of my 4 years or 5 years of going through this, because, you know, it's been 5 years now. Yeah. I have asked every one of my attorneys, how can you help me to talk to Colby in a way that I can let him know the truth of what happened, because he's the only person on this planet, not my mom, not my sister, not anybody else. Colby is the only person on this planet who loved JJ and Tylee like I did. He was the only person that truly cared. And in my opinion, he is the only person who deserves to know what really happened.
So manipulative.
So can you help me find a way where I can talk to Colby privately and tell him, because this is a horrible situation and I want to be able to talk to you, but I don't know that after you know what actually happened, if you would want that to be public.
Okay. Well, basically, you said no one was murdered. That was your biggest statement. You said not one single person was murdered, but everybody, you said there were suicides and deaths, accidental deaths, and you said that there was drug overdoses, that no one was murdered. So that's what I'm going to ask you then. If you were willing to say it in your statement, then I'm asking you to say it to me. If you don't want to go into detail, that's your decision. But that's what I'm asking you today.
Well, what I can tell you is that I wrote out what happened with those 38 pages, and that's what I was telling my attorneys. I need this to get to Colby. I don't care who else it has to go through, but I don't think it's fair to Colby to not have this information, since he is the only person I feel like was as close to that cared about JJ and Tylee like I did. Now, you are the only person, Colby, in the entire world that I felt like I said, I want to talk to Colby and tell him, because he deserves to know. I don't care what anybody else knows, and I frankly don't care what anybody else thinks. It's not their children. They're my children, and they're your brother and sister, and we were the family, and we were the ones doing everything for them. And when you took care of JJ, when Tylee was in the hospital that time before we had to move to Hawaii, and you sat there with him as a 2-year-old before medication, before we knew he had autism, and he would just run like 100 miles an hour. And I remember, because when you picked us up at the airport, picked us up, and you were so mad at me when you picked me up with JJ, and you were like, what are you doing? And you're too old to be, you're a grandma age, and you're too old to have this baby, and what are you doing? And he's gonna have so many problems, and you were really mad. And JJ came with his own love, and you fell in love with JJ. You, Colby, did. And when you had to take care of him during that time, I think that bonded you the most to him. When you took care of him, and Tylee and I were in the hospital, and Charles was in Hawaii trying to set up the house, and we were trying to move out of that huge 5,000 square foot house, and we were just throwing everything in the dumpster because we couldn't move it. We didn't have time because we didn't expect Tylee to be with pancreatitis in the the hospital, and I was in there with her screaming, and so you are the only person that deserves to know the truth. Also, I can't tell the story of what happened to Tylee and JJ without telling Tylee's life. And I don't necessarily want to tell that to the public, but you know it. You are the only person who lived it with me and her. You lived it with me. You went with me and her to therapy every week. You were the ones there where she was crying and screaming and throwing things in walls because they were forcing her to go to jail. You saw all of her moods. You knew how she had depression and anxiety attacks. And you and Kelsey were even coming over to mentor her during that time.
This is where it becomes really clear what she's going to be doing. She's setting it up to throw Tylee under the bus. So any of you guys who've been following it, you may maybe have heard that that's kind of her story that she's going to be using, but it's very different to actually hear her flesh it out in front of Colby. I mean, it's awful.
Because you were there, and you were there with JJ, you were there with Tylee, and and I didn't want to write it out like that. I didn't want to just say, oh, this is what happened. I wanted to talk to you and answer your questions so I can tell you everything that actually happened. And if you have a question of something, well, the police said this, and I have an answer for that. That is not what, they weren't there and they don't know. So I wanted to talk to you so I could hear your questions and answer your questions, because you are the only person besides me on this whole earth who really loved both of them the way that I did. And so you heard what happened if you heard what I wrote.
They wouldn't give me the detail really, so that's why I'm asking, because I that's what.
Yes, I would be happy to tell you personally and privately, because I don't know if you want those details out in the public.
Well, you pretty much said it in the trial. So I guess I'm wondering why you said those things if you weren't willing to just share, if that's the truth, if that's the truth that you say it is.
Well, it is the truth, and it's exactly what happened. But
do you want me to say what I've seen personally?
Sure.
So it's gonna be heavy. So I hope you're ready for this. They found my little brother in a bag, tied up, buried, and then they found remnants of my sister. Remnants, not even a person anymore. Remnants of her.
Can you imagine why that is? Do you have any room to think that would happen?
No.
Oh my God, it's awful.
No.
So, did you know Tylee's desire of wanting to be cremated?
Oh, for fuck's sake, this is just where it gets.
That was your version of cremating her?
Oh.
That was
It
the
wasn't
version?
mine.
Oh my
God.
It wasn't mine. But did you know that she had that desire?
No.
Well, so you don't know because you weren't there, but when after Charles passed away, and Alex and I and Tylee were at our table in there at the house in Chandler, and we were going over Charles' wishes, and Charles had put all his stuff down saying he wanted to be cremated, and don't ever put me in a box or I'll come back and haunt you, because he was claustrophobic. He didn't like the idea of being in a box, and he had said all these funny things on his letter to me. And Tylee said to me and Alex at the time, she said, don't you put me in a box either. She's like, whenever I'm out of here, I want to be cremated. That was her big thing.
So why wasn't she cremated?
Put into a box.
Why didn't you cremate her? If,
Well, that's an example.
she-
That's an example of a hearsay statement that wouldn't be able to come in, even if Lori takes a stand. That would not be able to come in. Self-serving hearsay is being offered for the truth of the matter, sort of try to. Although not that I mean I don't know if that would be relevant anyway. In the Arizona trial, but you never know what Lori might try to do, right? I mean, she's trying to blame Charles's death on Tylee, so I don't know.
Wasn't murdered. Why was she picked?
But she wasn't.
Pieces? Okay, according to what you say, and you say you were there, I'm trying to give you this space without telling you what I think and feel. I'm trying to ask you the question because that's not cremation. I have my brother and sister's ashes. That's cremation. I have them.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine coming in on that scene? Can you imagine as a mother, your father now? So imagine you come in and find 2 of your children deceased.
So they just died out of nowhere.
They didn't die at the same time. I mean, this is.
I didn't say that.
You come home or whatever, and both your kids are dead. And then what? You just never tell me what happened? Or you never tell anybody anything? I'm trying to understand you.
You can't, because you can't imagine what that is like. You can't even imagine, you know how much I love those kids. You know how much I've put into them. You know how much I've done everything to protect them. You know how much I've done everything to get Tylee every kind of help, fought in every kind of court to keep her safe, fought in every kind of hospital so they wouldn't do a whole bunch of horrible stuff to her when she was sick all the time. You know what I did for them.
I know.
So you imagine.
My own personal, this is my personal take based on what I know from deep diving this for a long, long time, with Lori's history and stories from her family and things like that. I have a very strong feeling or sense that what was going on with Tylee's health issues was like a Munchausen's, or like, what do they call it? Factitious disorder imposed on another, basically. Although, I mean, I don't know if she was actually ill. Like, in other words, there's instances that are known where Lori seems to have been kind of mildly poisoning people. And I have to wonder if that's what was going on with Tylee, because it was just Tylee, right, that had it. It wasn't the boys. And there's also this history in Lori's family. There's a lot of siblings, right? There's a lot of stories about the history with the women. There's always a weird attitude amongst the women. And we also know there were things that were very specific that were different about Tylee's remains. So I don't know. There's a weirdness there. And we've talked about it a little bit before, but I have to wonder if this whole thing about, like, and she, you know, if y'all watched her sentencing, right, in Idaho, that was her whole thing. I took care of her and she was sick and I was the best mom and she wouldn't have, you know, that whole thing, right? That's, you know, it's like, I think there's a strong likelihood that she was making Tylee sick and then coming in to be the one to save the day, as it were. Yeah.
Walking in, finding them, and they had been gone for hours. There was nothing I can do, even though you just can't imagine. You can't imagine that scenario, because until you live it, you can't imagine that scenario. And when I came in, and I knew Tylee had been upset, and I knew that she was upset with me that weekend because she wouldn't stay at the house because I would only give stay there. She hates Melanie Gibb, as you know. Everyone knows this. She hated her. And she couldn't stand her smell because she had the essential oils, and Tylee got sick off the essential oils in 6th grade because her teacher made her drink the essential oils in 6th grade to help with pancreatitis, if you remember all that.
I mean, that's interesting, right? Because right there, great example. Sounds like something that maybe Lori would have done, right? Anyway.
She didn't want to stay there. So I asked her to babysit JJ, put him to bed that night, which is what she always has done, right? She was going to sit in bed. I was going to do my podcast with stupid Melanie and Dave, right? So JJ wouldn't interrupt it. And then I was picking him up in the morning to get him ready and take him to school. And when I came in on that scene, and they were gone, I thought Tylee did it to get back at me. I thought it was all my fault. I thought she was mad at me, and that's what had happened. And the reason why she visited me and why JJ visited me and came to me right after that is because to tell me that it wasn't my fault, because I was blaming myself 100%. 100%. Why didn't I get Tylee more help? Why did I let her get off of her meds? Why did I not do something different? Why did I let Melanie get to stay here? Why did I do any of these things that would lead to this? How could it possibly have happened? Why and how? Why and how? I mean, you can't even imagine what that is like. No one on the earth can imagine what that's like.
You're telling me that Tylee took JJ's life and then took her own life.
On accident.
And took her own life then? After? So who chopped and burned her? And who duct taped JJ and put him in the ground? What I'm asking you. You're saying what? So you told me.
Sorry, you're just cutting out. I can't hear what your question is.
So you're telling me Tylee took JJ's life, then took her own life, and then someone cremated her by dismembering her and burning her and throwing her in a pet cemetery, and then somebody bound JJ, put him in a trash bag, and threw him in the backyard. And that was it. That was the end of it.
What I'm saying is I wasn't aware what happened to them after I left that scene.
Okay, so you gave it to someone else. You gave the responsibility to someone else, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Okay. And then
I didn't. I just ran out.
okay. So you're saying someone else took care of the situation.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said you.
It's freaking out.
I'm saying that you're saying to me that someone else took care of it. That's it. I don't have to go into more detail there. Somebody else took care of these things. So you.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
I'm telling you that their spirits were gone from their bodies at that time. They were gone. They were already in heaven. They were already gone.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So you're saying that they were gone, and why, if that's the case, then why wouldn't you just tell us? What was the secrecy for? Why didn't anybody know?
There's a lot of reasons. Colby and I've gone over that a million times, and I can tell you from the beginning, my thoughts then and my thoughts now obviously are different. I've had lots of therapy about it, to kind of work through it myself. But at the time, I didn't want anyone to know what Tylee had done to JJ, and I wanted to continue to protect Tylee as her mother, who has been trying to protect her whole life. Like, this is my scenario, Colby. What if Tylee holding JJ down for too long, trying to get him to not scream and be loud in the apartment, which she was always upset about. We weren't in a big house anymore. We were in these tiny little apartments, and he was loud. And what if she held him down too long and realized afterwards what she had done? What if she had come running to me and told me what she had done, right? That it was an accident? Do you not think that I would have told police that I did it to save Tylee? Because you know that I would have. I would have done anything to protect Tylee. And in my mind at that time, and some people might think it's not rational, but wasn't rational at that time, because you can't imagine what it's like to find your children in that way. You can't imagine. So no, I was not being rational. However, I was still protecting Tylee in my mind, and I still am. This is why I only wanted to tell you privately. I didn't want to tell the world what went on. I want to tell the world that tried to stop taking her medication 2 weeks before this. She was on anti-anxiety medication, anti-depression medication. She was on a medication for panic attacks, and she was on birth control so her ovarian cyst wouldn't be bad. She was on all that stuff. And when we moved up to Idaho, 2 weeks before.
One thing I will say too is the thing. Did y'all hear her say "in my mind"? I noticed when she had her sentencing. I didn't cover or anything, but I was watching it. And I noticed when she was sentenced and she did her sentencing speech, she said "in my mind" a lot of times, and I found it very interesting. And she did it again here. And the thing about Lori Vallow is her. A lot of people ask the question of like, is she actually crazy, or like, does she actually believe this shit, or what is the situation with her, like mentally, right? And the thing is that when people really lose touch with reality and they just, delusional, typically what you have is you have people who have delusions that are not in their best interest because they aren't able to, how to put this? Like they might have delusions that might serve a purpose or might not serve a purpose or might act against their best interests, right? Because they don't have a plan. They're not orchestrating it. When you've got somebody like Lori who had all these delusions, and then you have like, again, the text messages between her and Chad where they actually openly joke about it, right? Where it's like, oh, are you mad at me? Well, then I'm going to change your rating or whatever. And it's like shit like that, right? There's an awareness and a cognizance to it where it's like they're almost acknowledging that it's all made up and it's just a way to manipulate. But also when you look at everything that Lori, says she believes, and then everything she's been doing since, as well, it seems like the only answer is that it's like being delusional or whatever, because, it doesn't make any sense. All of the decisions that she's made, all the steps she's taken, to her were to serve her own purpose. Initially it was to get rid of the kids and to get rid of the husbands and the wives, and so her and Chad could be together. After that happened, right, then everything else has been to try to justify it, right? So that shows like a level of, planning and all that, right? And if that kind of makes sense. So when she says these things like "in my mind," I think that's really significant. I think it's almost like, how to say, like a Freudian slip, if you will, right? Like it's almost her out loud acknowledging that she knows it's not real, but she, at the same time has told herself this story. Like, in other words, I don't think she actually thinks any of this. You know what I mean? I don't think she actually thinks any of this. I think she has practiced explaining it in a way that, like, I don't even think she's in denial. I think she's just manipulating people and lying to them, if that makes any sense. And Miss Mandy Reacts is here and has gifted some memberships. Thank you so much. Awesome. So happy to see you again. So Needs and Z's, what is the topic of this live stream? We did Brian Koberger earlier. I did all the Syray affidavits like literally an hour after those came out on the docket the other day. So we covered all the Syray. So that was on whatever Friday. So then last night we did, for Brian Koberger, we did the 911 call and the expert witness disclosures. And then we did a Lori Vallow live stream, and then that one got cut off, and then we restarted it. And we've also been deep diving this other cult, which is insanity. So that's kind of where we're at right now, if that helps. So happy to see you again as well, Miss Mandy, and also Needs and Z's. So yeah, so I think she's fully aware. I think she's fully aware. And I think that the reason she was tested for, she was in there for competency, in Idaho, right? And they put her on hold. I think that goes with, I think that makes sense. Like, that doesn't surprise me. And I think it's also noteworthy that she's now been found competent enough to represent herself, right, in a murder trial. Actually, not just that, also an attempted murder trial for Brandon Boudreaux. So, you know, and again, I have to also mention that in Idaho at the time, it was still a death penalty case when they were, when they put the stay on the speedy trial clock, and then they had her, I think it was like for 9 months or whatever for evaluation. It was also a death penalty case. So I think that it's the type of thing where it's like, if there's any question at all, because they might be a little bit kookalook, right? They're going to make sure. I think she's fully aware of what she's doing. I think this is all very manipulative. I think she, you know, and the thing too is, again, if you hear these stories about her childhood and the experiences with other family members, it really, really, really explains a lot. And, you know, there's other mysterious deaths beyond what most people have even heard about, right? There's Stacy, which was an older sister. There's Lorelei, which they called Lolly, who died as like a baby sister. All of the circumstances around both of those are really suspicious, and other family members think Lori might have had something to do with it. Maybe Alex as well. Then you also have Joe Ryan, and then of course Alex, you know, her brother, which, you know, even though they've ruled that out as being natural causes, I think the timing of it, I just can't get past the timing of it, right? Can't get past that's tough for me. So anyway, you know, it's really, if you go ahead and think about the potential of involvement, even if you don't, right? She's already a serial killer by definition, just from the number of deaths. So, yeah, 100% needs some Z's. Yeah, she was never ever incompetent. No, definitely not. So yeah, and so again, we did cover the latest court filings for Lori as well earlier, Lori's. Did y'all have everyone who's here now, have y'all seen Lori's motion to dismiss? Because if you haven't, it's worth pulling up, and it's short. It is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. So if you've not seen that, we can look at that again. I literally, on the live stream earlier, I was like, this is one of the most insane things, and we will want to be able to refer to this on a regular basis because it is craziness. So if you guys haven't seen it, we can pull that up. And so earlier on this live stream, we were deep diving. It was a deep dive continued on this twin flames cult, which is insanity. And then now we're watching, of course, this is obviously Colby talking to his mom for the first time in like 4.5 years-ish, and also for the last time, as he described Tanae Eaton in that interview too. So, oh, are you able to get those court filings? Because they, you know, you have to pay for them in Arizona, but sure, I will totally be happy to have that. That would be awesome. Oh, so Neesmith's had a specific question. No, you can ask. Absolutely. Go ahead and ask for sure. Go ahead and ask, and I'll answer if I can, for sure. Go right ahead. Oh, Miss Mandy has everything. That is awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's amazing. Yeah, I would love to be able to get my hands on that. Oh, wow. Awesome. And that reminds me, I still have a couple documents, I think 2 for Karen Reed I need to go over that came out in that recent batch. But yeah, I'm going to attempt. I mean, there's going to be a lot going on. April's going to be crazy, right? Because we're going to have the Brian Koberger hearing, or possibly 2 days, right? And then we're going to have the Lori Vallow trial, of course, obviously, and that trial's plural, really. Although I don't know that I'll prioritize covering the second one, but yeah. And then we'll of course also have Karen Reed. There's a lot going on at once. That's all. Yeah, no rush. So yeah, let me know, Neesmith, though, about your question. In the meantime, though, we will continue to watch this horribly depressing. Right. So what I was saying, though, again, the part about how she's like saying, in my mind, I think that's really telling. I don't think she's saying that. I mean, okay. I think it's almost like in a way a Freudian slip, because I think that's how she does it. Because she's fully aware of what she's doing. But I think the way she tries to maintain also this like completely separate reality, right, of what didn't actually happen, is she's got like a separate version where she can rationalize it to herself by saying it's in her mind, like in her imagination. In her imagination, she's got like imaginary world and then a regular world. And so that's kind of how I interpret that.
Where a week after we got there, she said she didn't want to take her meds anymore. And I said, honey, you can't go off meds cold turkey. You can't just like, you have to wean off of them. And you know how she was, and you know how stubborn she was, and you know how she would do anything that I told her to do, and she would do the opposite. So no, I haven't wanted to tell everybody, and nobody could even understand how it could get to this point unless they understood what had happened to Tylee since she was 3 years old. So yes, I have been protecting Tylee. I will continue to protect Tylee. I didn't want this to be made public. I didn't testify in court for that purpose.
To
They
protect
could
her
put me in
name?
here for 5 lifetimes. They could put me in here for 1 million lifetimes. It doesn't matter to me.
So I just want to understand.
I mean, yeah, because you're already.
This is what I asked you before. You're telling me that all of this is to protect my sister's name because of what she did. Is that what you're saying?
In my mind, yes.
Okay.
Oh, you just did it again in my mind.
To protect my sister's name because of what she did. Is that what you're saying?
In my mind, yes.
Wow.
Okay. I think it's hard because I've come to know the prosecutors myself. I've looked at a lot of the evidence. There was nothing left of my sister to even really look at because somebody was so brutal with her. Somebody was so sick with her after she was taken.
I can't hear you, Colby. It's cutting out.
I said that.
I can't really hear anything you're saying.
I said that it was. I've talked to the prosecutors. I've looked at a lot of what they've shown me, and Tylee was so brutally mistreated after her death that it wasn't even human. It wasn't even humans.
Well, I'll tell you something about what I know about the minute, and because of my own experience of being outside of my body, right?
Oh dear.
You could care less what happens to your body after you die. You could care less.
Okay, hold on.
And I know people on Earth are really worried about it.
I don't
get
want to
it.
hear it. I'm sorry.
I get it.
I don't want to know.
I did not intend for that to be done to
It's
her.
the most brutal
I did
thing
not
I've
know
ever heard
that
in my
was
life.
being done to her.
It's the most brutal thing I've ever heard in my life. So I don't want to go over that really.
Me either.
JJ.
I want to think about that.
JJ was
They were
found.
not in there, Colby. They were not in there, is what I'm telling you.
But I'm telling
So
you.
no matter what happens to you when you're at a coroner's office and they cut you open and do an autopsy,
Okay.
yeah, that's really gross. It's
No,
really
that's not
gross
what
when
I'm
they do
talking
that
about.
to anybody.
That's not what I'm talking about. But with JJ,
You're not in there.
JJ was found fighting his bag that he was put in. So did Tylee held him down too long or put a bag over his head? Because that was the evidence that JJ was being suffocated by somebody. That was
Okay, so that is not the case. So when I found those my little precious babies,
Oh, that's so
there was no
offensive.
bag.
Wow.
There was no tape.
Okay, so
There's
they're just both
nothing
dead.
of that. They were just gone.
Okay.
Anything that was done was after the fact, long after the fact. They were not in there.
Okay. And that brings me to a question here. With all of this being said, what has it been like for you?
Sorry, you're cutting out. I didn't hear you because I
I said,
was cut out.
what has it been like for you then since 2020? How have you been affected by all this? Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, you didn't hear that?
I said,
No, I didn't hear that. Only part of it.
since that's what you're going to say, how have you been affected since 2020? How has this affected you?
How have I not been affected? It's my whole life. Like, tell anybody anything about anything ever.
Okay, so you would have never told
Suck
me.
it up and take it.
You would have never told
But
me.
when I was at the
You would have never
well,
told
you're
me.
the only person I wanted to tell you, and you're the only person I wanted to tell, and I wanted that to be privately.
Okay, well,
You're the only person I deserve to know.
That can't just be something private, Mom. That's not something you can just tell me that I would just be accepting and understanding of. You have to understand that. I would never agree with you. I would never bury my siblings in some random dude's backyard and act like it never happened. I would never let that happen. I would have, even if that's what happened, which I'm going to be honest with you, I hope you can understand, because I wanted to be respectful enough to listen to what you said. I've really tried to listen and study what you've said, and based off of everything that I've been shown, that they were both murdered, and that's what you said didn't happen. So I think that we're not going to get anywhere there. I think that's just, I wanted to hear what you had to say, because you said you were there, and you said that those were your children and those were my siblings. But I can't sit here and say that I agree with you at all. I don't think that's what happened. It's just not what I think happened based off of
When we all get to heaven, you'll know.
Okay.
That's all I can tell you. I can't tell you anything different.
Right,
You'll know.
no.
And I can't tell anybody different. And I don't care what anybody thinks, really. Like, they were there, they don't know. So
Okay. Well, that's what you meant then on that phone call.
it is what it is. It is what it is.
You told me on that phone call that I would know, and you said they don't know. And I definitely listened to that phone call again, because I was so hurt, because it sounded like you were just giving me a middle finger, and you said F you.
It wasn't, honey. I wanted to tell you. The attorneys told me
The nerve that she still calls him honey is just awful.
don't say anything on a jail call. Nothing. Don't ever say anything. They pound that into you, from day one. Like, so you're asking me, and I'm like, I can't tell you on this phone call, but I want to tell you. You're the only person I wanted to tell, because I wanted you to be able to grieve, and I wanted you to be able to mourn, and I wanted you to be able to tell the difference between what they're seeing actually happen, and that you would know privately what really happened. Let them say whatever they want. Who cares? It's gone way out of proportion. But I wanted you to have that for your own peace. That's it. For your own peace of mind. You know Tyler better than anybody on earth except for me. You did. You lived it with me.
So can I ask you another question then?
Wow.
Obviously, I have a million. I'm trying to keep this very, really to the point of the things. I think that I've noticed you say you have a lot of these enemies, and that you have believed to be a very big usher into the second coming and Jesus and all these things. So I'm wondering, do you feel that you are this person who's lived multiple lives and is here to do this thing to usher in Jesus's coming? Is that what all of this hardship on your part is? Is that why you think you're going through so much hardship? Is that you are that person?
Well, what do you remember of me telling you about my experiences in the temple? I told you personally. I only told a few people personally, and they've gone running wild with these stories. So I'm asking you what you remember, what I told you personally.
All I remember is your biggest claim is that you had seen Jesus personally, and that he had talked to you, and that he was on your side. That was it. That's what I really remember. I mean, you did tell me about the whole multiple lives thing, but that's about the basis of what I remember you telling me.
And I'll just say also, just real quick for needs and Z's, if ever I have an opportunity, because there are some streams, like for example on STS, where they might have somebody like that, on, like a retired FBI agent, where you can ask them questions directly. And I'll keep that in mind in case I have the opportunity to ask somebody what they use. But I'll just say too, like anytime that I've tried to find anything specific about the FBI, it's gone nowhere for looking on the internet, or even really looking, right? I think it's going to have to come from like a person who was in the, like actually has experience with it and was, is no longer there. So that's how I think it would be the only way you get that information. They really keep it on lock, you know?
Right. And where did I tell you where that
I know.
experience
I
happened?
agree.
Yeah, you said you're in the temple.
Yeah, I feel the same way about this call. Like the amount of, I don't even know what the word is, self-restraint, patience, control, I don't even know, deep breathing exercises that it must have taken for him to get through this is really admirable.
That's what
Okay. So I learned all these things that I know from Jesus personally. So when he came to
does she mean Jeff? The dude from, for anyone who does, the dude from earlier, the call I was talking about, his name is Jeff and he thinks he's Jesus. So anyways, made a joke.
me in the temple, and he put his hands on my head and ordained me to do something for him, like a job, right?
Oh, not
and he
a job.
said, will you do this job if you lose everything? This was in 2017.
Okay.
And then he said, will you do this job if you become like Job?
Okay.
That's what he asked me. And at the time, when he was right there with me, and you have those wonderful, heavenly, peaceful feelings, I thought, sure, I'll do anything you want me to do. Go to the ends of the earth. I'll follow you to the ends of the earth like Peter. And then you walk into that scene and you're on the ground like Peter. Like, what is this about? What do you mean? It was everything.
Wow.
I lost.
This is so awful. So she's the victim. She's saying she lost everything, but also not only that, but she did what Jesus wanted her to do. I mean,
Peter, like, what is this about? What do you mean? It was everything. I lost everyone,
Wow.
including you, which was really the hardest loss of all.
This is where it just goes to another level where she starts doing this to him.
Me.
Hard.
Because you were my best friend for 24 years.
Dude, I don't know how, like when this first came out, I had to watch this in pieces because it was just so hard for me. Because I'm like, how the fuck is he sitting there listening to this? This is so
And losing you over the past 4 years was harder on me than even losing the kids. But
wow.
He asked me to do a job for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that I could, and he said it was going to be terrible. Now I'll tell you this.
Okay.
When you have a visit from Jesus, a personal visit,
right,
then because there is opposition in all things, you will have a personal visit from Lucifer.
Okay.
Oh, great, Lucifer.
So weeks after I had this visit with Jesus in the temple, I was in JJ's room at the big house where you got married.
Okay.
And Lucifer was standing right in front of me.
Okay.
And he said to
This could explain a lot if she had an encounter with Lucifer.
me,
Right?
I know who you are. I know exactly who you are. And I will stop you. Okay? So, Jesus gave me a job.
Okay.
Lucifer has done every single thing to get me
Fucking Lucifer, man.
to take my own life. Because
oh God, Mom, dude. I forgot. I mean, some of this I forgot was in this call. Like, just when you think it can't get worse.
that is his goal. If I leave here, I cannot do my job for Jesus, right? The only thing I have to do for Jesus is stay here, right? He needs me here to help people.
Right.
Now, there's 8 women in my pod right now facing the death penalty.
Uh-huh.
Okay, 8 women in this little jail. I help them every day.
Okay.
I help them doing their workouts. I help them doing all these things. I help them with their cases.
Uh-huh.
Whether Jesus needs me to help him and serve him in primary or in prison, he asked me to do this for him. Now, the media flood that has come against me come against me is from Lucifer, right?
Wow.
He does not want this job done. He does not want me to help these women. He does not want me to uplift them and strengthen them and help them hold on until he comes again to rescue us all.
Right.
He doesn't want that.
Okay.
So he wants me to hear.
Okay.
And he's taken everything away from me like he took away from Job. The only thing wasn't allowed to do to Job is what?
Kill him.
He wasn't allowed to kill Job himself.
Wow.
Right?
Yep.
But he was allowed to do everything to make Job want to kill himself. Right? Everything.
So you have to imagine, so
So-
this is all very much part of LDS, obviously, right? Not, I'm not up on that, but for someone, for being LDS, right, and being raised like that, imagine, oh, that's interesting. Is she in Top Chat? That's been, okay, there's been, for the past several days, other people have expressed that. You've probably even seen it yourself, Meg. I've had people saying like, oh, they're not seeing their comments, not just here, but on other channels too. They've said it's been happening to them. And so far, it seems like every time it's because they've been on Top Chat, but other people have said that they think YouTube's just having issues. So so I don't know. I'm not seeing them either. So I don't know. But if you're talking to her, you could just make sure she's not on a Top Chat. And the other thing too is some people said they like closed out of the app or whatever, restarted it, and that helped. Yeah, but think about though, if you're LDS, right? That level of manipulative that this is, right? When you bring this type of shit, these biblical stories into the mix here from I guess the Book of Mormon, right? And it's like the max way to manipulate somebody. Like this is really, while I don't know specifically these stories, I know enough from people who are LDS or from also these cases too, that like these stories are like their oxygen, right? And so I can understand that this is like the max way to manipulate somebody.
From me like he took away from Job. The only thing he wasn't allowed to do to Job is what?
Kill him.
He wasn't allowed to kill Job himself, right?
Yep.
But he was allowed to do everything to make Job want to kill himself, right? Everything.
Right.
So it is a personal attack on my family because Jesus asked me to do a job for him.
Okay.
So that is my belief that he has taken every single thing I've ever said and twisted it. He's taken every truth and turned it into a lie, taken every lie and turned it into a truth. So yes, that is what I feel like is happening.
Okay.
I will continue to do my job, whether I have your support or not, although I would love that. And one day, everyone will know that that is true and that that's what happened.
I hope you can listen to what I have to say as well.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I've done a lot of praying. I've dreamed dreams of me delivering you from demons. I've in those dreams, every time I yelled at you and we screamed, and then I would perform a deliverance on you and I would call things out of you. I do not share your beliefs, and this is after a lot of pondering and praying on my own. After everything happened, I started to read the New Testament, and I wanted to trust you before I found out. I wanted to believe that Kylie and JJ were walking around somewhere, maybe in a barn. I don't know. I couldn't understand what you were doing. And I tried to just keep saying, you know what? I'm going to trust my mom. I'm going to trust my mom. I'm going to trust my mom. When I found out what happened and I started to see everything, I gave you a call. And in that call, it was very confrontational, but I felt like I wasn't judging you. And a lot of times you said I was judging you and you think that I was with everybody else and I'm like the media. And I'm glad that I called you now because I have my head on straight. And I can tell you that after a very long time of listening to what has been in the documents. These are the things they recovered from you and from Chad and these things. It doesn't make sense to me, and none of it is biblically based. And I know you have a different viewpoint, but you and I are on completely two different, I mean, it's black and white. It's that different. And a part of me struggled for a very long time to try to remember the person you were before all this, and try to remember that you did care so much, and it felt like you loved us, and you tried to protect us, and you were just a different person. And I understand that you believe that these are the things, and you know what? We're not even going to have an argument about that, because there's no point. There's not going to be me saying.
I just have to say how brave also for him to not just tell her what she wants to hear, and for him to say this. Like, this isn't, and also I forgot how young he was when we were watching the interview with him and Nate Eaton. Like, he said that at the time, I mean, what is he? It was unclear if he was saying at the time as in now, or at the time of the murders, or what, or at the time of maybe at the trial, her first trial, but it was like 22, 23, either way, regardless, he's still in his early 20s. Like, he's way younger than I thought. And like, this is just, you know, the way he's also not arguing with her, you know, and it's just, man.
They're telling you this, this, and this, but I will tell you fundamentally and 100%, after praying a lot about it and everything over the last few years, I do not agree with what you believe, and I don't think that.
Yeah, but you don't even know exactly what I do believe, honey. Like, you're saying that because you're going with what everybody else has said I believe, but
I read it.
My actual beliefs.
Right, but believing that someone is a zombie or a. I know you said you didn't say that.
That is not my belief.
But believing that.
That is not my belief.
Believing that, I mean, even with what happened with Chad, you know, I thought that all these things were happening, and all this time you were talking to him, and then, you know, I was mad at my dad, and I stopped talking to him because I was mad because I thought he hurt you, but you were talking to Chad too. That's not right. And those things aren't right. And I don't know everything. Like I told you, I'm not arrogant to sit here and say I know everything. And I wanted to give you the platform to say your piece. But my piece is this as well. I do know you. And none of this is congruent to the person that raised me. None of it. Nothing.
When did I change? I would like to know when you think that this miraculous after 50 years of being a wonderful mother that I turned into this horrible person. Like, what?
No, I think.
When do you think that happened?
Can I be honest with you?
She does not want him to think badly of her. That's crazy.
I think you were beyond deceived. I think spiritually you were horribly deceived by a man who saw.
Now, I will say, I think his perspective on this is a little bit different now than it was then, even though this wasn't all that long ago. Because, you know, he's still processing, obviously, and understandably, all of this. But like in the interview with Nate Eaton that he just gave, like he doesn't say this. Like versus her, like instead of her being deceived, his understanding is presently that, you know, Lori, Alex, and Chad, all three of them all decided to kill the family. And that's, you know, he gave them, in the way he described it, it was like he gave them equal responsibility versus like her being deceived, which I think is a little bit different.
In the room with Jesus Christ, that he deceived me, that I could be deceived after being in the room with Jesus. Do you think that I could personally be deceived?
I don't think that this is a commission of Christ. And I'm sorry to tell you that, but I want you to know that because I want this to be.
It's a commission of Lucifer trying to make my life miserable. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's not from Christ. Christ lets things happen and strengthens you through it when he attacks you. Okay. This is not done from Jesus. This is Lucifer attacking our lives, my life, and including your life because you are my child. So you have also been attacked, and I am very sorry for that. There's nothing I can do. I leave it in Jesus' hands to handle it because He is strengthening us through this attack. It's just like he let it all happen to Job. Why did he let Job get to that point and suffer so much? Why did he have every single thing taken away from him? Why? Why did he let all those things happen? He has a purpose. And he told me, this is what Jesus told me 20 days before I was arrested in Hawaii. Jesus came to me, and he has several times since I've been in jail, but he came to me 20 days before I was arrested, and he said this, Lori, there is a purpose for your whole life. It is my purpose, so trust it. What do you think I thought at that time? They were talking about arresting me, and I knew I hadn't hurt anybody. I knew I never would hurt anybody. But so I didn't think I was going to get this. And he's going to make it known to the world what his purpose is in his due time. Whenever he feels like doing that, you will know. And I want you to know right now that nothing is more important to me than you. I love you. I've always loved you and cherish our relationship as eternal. I understand you being upset with me. I get it 100%. I don't blame you. But I want you to know that no matter what you've ever said about me or done or said on the video or anything negative, I forgive you. I don't hold it against you. I love you. I understand completely.
And that might be one of the worst parts. It's also bad, right? But that part where she's like, I forgive you is just too much. It's too much.
You will know one day, Colby, and you know. And that's all I can tell you. I love you more than anything. I miss being a part of your life and my grandchildren's life. I know why you're probably doing that, but we have an eternal relationship, you know. Ava came to me the night before she was born. I didn't even know that Chelsea was due with the baby, and she came to me the night before she was born, and I held her as a baby in the spirit world, and she told me that we had loved each other for eons of time, and that she loved me so much, and the joy that filled me when I held that little baby filled me. Colby, she came to me because she knew that you wouldn't let me see her and you wouldn't let me talk to her, but she said our relationship is eternal, and she loved me, and I'm her grandma whether you like it or not. She said, I'm your grandma whether my parents like it or not. And so there is a purpose in all this, and I'm sorry it's been hard on you, honey. I love you so much, and I'm sorry this has been awful. I pray for you every minute. I was crying in church one day, and I was sitting there crying about you, and I was worried about you. And Jesus came next to me, and he said, why weepest thou? And I said, you know why I'm worried about Colby. I love Colby so much. And he said, you love him. Let me lead him. I've got this. I've got him. I know him like I know you. So I have left you in his capable hands, and I know he has taught you. And I'm sorry if he hasn't given you comfort where I am concerned, and maybe it's not time yet, but he will. I promise you, he will. And you'll all see, and everyone will know, but I want you to know how much I love you. I've always loved you, and I love those babies, all of them. And I'm sorry that you feel like you have to keep them from me. I would love to have a relationship with you and with them, but you would have to do what you have to do. But I promise you, you will know that all of this is his purpose.
Okay. I'd like to give you my piece as well, because I don't know how much longer this is going to go.
Do it, Colby. Do it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay.
It was cutting out.
I wish more than anything that I had my family. I prayed and was so grateful when my daughter's being born, Riley, that she was going to have a family and aunts and uncles and grandparents on both sides and people to love and support her. And then one day, everybody was gone and everything was gone. I also turned to Christ, but I believe that Christ was preparing me for what was going to happen. And you and I do not see eye to eye at all when it comes to belief in Jesus. We don't. I don't believe. And I've really searched. I didn't just make a conclusion. I'm not someone that does that. I really take my time. And I took my time. And I read the New Testament. And I read Revelations. And nothing that I've seen is godly or connected to God. And people can say what they want to say. I always dig deeper. I know I'm not going to take someone's word for something. I'm going to go try to dig deeper and find things out. I base it off of what I knew about you. And none of it ever added up. And you used to ask me on the phone if I would had received information or
He's very beautiful eyes.
clarification or something of that nature, and I never did. And then all my dreams following that were dreams of me either delivering you from demons or me yelling at you at the top of my lungs. And you were not the same in my dreams. And you were not the same person. And I had to accept the fact that I lost my mom too. I had to accept that. But with that being said, with you being there, I need to tell you this. You did raise me. You took care of me, you took care of my needs. You tried to protect me the best you could. And I'm grateful for what you did for me when I was a child. But I will tell you this situation does put us at odds. And I can't sit here and say that I agree with you. I can't even really understand where this side's coming from. I don't wish pain or anything on you. I have no malice towards you. Zero.
Amazing.
But I do want you to find comfort.
You don't have malice towards anyone.
No, and I won't. And I do 100% forgive you.
Wow.
I forgive you.
Wow.
And I'm not going to hold you in a jail cell of my heart, but you cannot be a part of my children's lives.
Wow.
And I think you need to understand why. Because you and I can't even be a part of each other's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't feel like I know you anymore. And I don't want to hurt you by telling you that, but I don't want to lead you on.
Well, how is that forgiveness? How is that
Forgiveness is a choice of forgiving. It doesn't mean you keep going. It doesn't mean that. And if you and I are this different on our beliefs of what happened to my family, then how could we ever even conversate? I can't sit here and pretend like this isn't what it is. And I hate all of it. And I hate that you are still suffering in some way. But at the same time, I understand it.
Wow.
You and I do not agree. And I can't say, even listening to you, I don't feel that conviction in my heart that that's what happened, but that's what you think happens. That's what you say happens. And you know what? I wasn't there, but I know what I feel. And I have my own spiritual intelligence, and I have my own ability to search and ponder. And I guess this leaves us to a place where all I can ever know is that I will find out one day in heaven. And that's all I could ever say about it, because you and I cannot agree on these things. I do not wish harm on you. I saw you in that courtroom, and I wish I could have talked to my mom. I wish I had my mom there. I wish I had my brother and my sister to look at all my kids. I wish my dad was here and being a part of it. I wish my family was here.
He's the only one alive still, Gwennon. But yes, and you know, Lori they just made up those rules so that they could have excuses to kill people. But I'm continuing to be even more impressed with Colby and the maturity with which he's handling this. And the fact that he was able to say that he forgives her is mind-boggling.
And they're not. And you're gone too. And that hurts. It hurts. But I want you to know I don't have a harmful bone in my body towards you. I am mad and I'm upset. But this is something you and I cannot agree on. And I need to set that base now. We do not agree on that. I want to make sure that somehow, some way, you're not stuck in this place forever. Because I don't know what you think. People have said that you have a delusional disorder of hyper-religiosity. And you know what?
Because if you tell anybody you've had a visit from Jesus, that's what they say. That's what psychological world says. But I am not crazy. I never was. When I was at the hospital, I met lots of people who were. And I wouldn't call them crazy, but that have mental disorders. And I do not.
Okay.
Same thing about all the prophets who said they saw Jesus. They said, and they're mad. Like, well, if it came to you, why doesn't he come to me? Why doesn't he come and tell me this stuff, right? It's the Sadducees and the Pharisees. It's all of that. So what I'm upset about hearing your statement is that it's the first time I realized, and I'm sorry for you, honey, because I love you so much, but it's the first time I realized that when Jesus asked me to be like Job, that you're also having to be like him. because I know you lost everything and all at once. But you have your wife, you have your beautiful children, you have your life still. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that you have a support system with Kelsey and her family. I'm grateful that you have that. I'm grateful that the kids have that. And this is my mission, and my mission will be revealed to everybody at some point, and including you. And at that time, I just want you to know, I'm not going to say I told you so. I'm just going to say I love you.
Oh,
I want you to know that
that's the worst fucking part of all right there, maybe. I know I keep saying that. It's all so bad, but.
That you have that. I'm grateful that the kids have that. And this is my mission, and my mission will be revealed to everybody at some point, and including you. And at that time, I just want you to know, I'm not going to say I told you so. I'm just going to say I love you.
Oh, God.
I want you to know that I did conduct this, obviously, like an interview, and I want you to know that I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with this, but I want you to know that my plan was to have this conversation and give you this piece for the public at some point. And that's what I want you to know. But that is the plan, for you to have said what you've never got to say publicly.
I wanted you to know how much I love you, and whether you reciprocate that or not. I mean, I know you love me, but whether you want to have a relationship.
That is insane that she says that. I know you love me. How dare you say, dude? And I don't doubt that he still loves her in some way, right? Like, and the way he described it on Nate's show makes a lot of sense to me. It's like what you call an ambiguous loss, because he even says that with Nate, and he said it on this phone call, like that his experience with the mother he knew growing up was a loving mother, right? You know, like that she wasn't killing people and like, you know, and all that. So for him, you know, it's like an ambiguous loss, because it's like, you know, he is grieving, not only for his entire fucking family, but he's like grieving for his mom, even though she's still alive, because it's not the same mom. And that's pretty much what you've been hearing him say here even too, right? It's like we can't have a relationship, right? Because there's just no way. And I think that he did not expect her to admit to things, but I do think he kind of hoped she would. And here's why, because I think that if she had, even though that in some ways might seem worse, right? If she admits to killing them, it might have been different. I think that, that's just how I could see it, right? Because even though she hasn't, he's forgiven her. And, you know, I think so. In other words, I think that it's like, he's probably still loves her. He's forgiven her, but he cannot, it's like, it's as if she's died. That's really what it is. That's, you know, because she's not the same person anymore. And that's kind of how I interpret it. And I think that, you know, it is just very impressive. And yeah, we talked about this earlier. I mean, I don't think she actually has any mental health issues. I think maybe the personality disorders, you know, potentially. I mean, I'm not trying to diagnose anybody, but, you know, the manipulation is really a lot, right? But not anything that, you know, again, nothing that counts as like a mental illness or anything along those lines. I mean, and she's said as much, and I agree. And but he's essentially, you know, so to speak, writing her off essentially, because there's no way that they can ever communicate, right? If she's just going to be perpetuating this false reality, and I think what part of it too is he doesn't want to be an enabler. And I think that's the right choice.
Relationship with me or not, you know, that's up to you. That's 100% you. So I respect all of your wishes. I know you're a grown man now and you can make your own decisions, but I would ask you to pray about, and I would ask you to have Jesus tell you the suffering that has been for me in the past 5 years, so that you will know that there's nothing that I could have done different that would have had a different result for you to lose everyone. There's nothing I could have done. When I complete my mission, there's a totally different attitude in heaven than there is here, because they realize this is just a short time and it's temporary. The things that we do there are eternal. and have eternal importance, but your relationship with me is eternal. So that's the only reason I would ask you to even.
That's so grotesque that she's trying. This is her last ditch effort here, saying that their relationship is like eternal. This to me is the way I interpret this is like, you can't get away from it. Don't try to deny it. You can't get away from it, which is just disgusting.
Pray about that, Colby. All I ever wanted for you is to have peace about it. I know you lost everybody. I'm sorry that you did. It was not my choice, and it was not what I wanted for you at all. I wanted the same thing for the kids. I wanted everybody to be happy, but that's not what this life is about, apparently. It's certainly not what Job's life was about. But in the end, what they give Job, they give him everything back and more. So let's see how Jesus wants to handle that. He hasn't told me when that is going to be, but he did come to me on February 2nd in this jail this year, and he said many things to me, and he told me to write them down. And when I wrote them down, he said, one of the things he told me.
I think the phone calls were spotty. Phone calls were really spotty. She was trying to see if she was going to call back. I feel like we didn't really end it. My raw reaction right now is I just spoke to my mother for the first time in 4 years.
Wow.
And I feel like that was the hardest I've ever fought to not respond.
No kidding.
I made a decision in the beginning before I interviewed her that I would not try to rebuttal her. And the reason being is there's no point. It would have been just a defense mechanism thrown up. There would have been no conversation. It would have been, it would have been chaos, and it wouldn't have been a conversation.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how shocking that is. I don't think I'll ever have an interview with someone that was harder than that. I'll tell you that right now. I would have rebutted everything that she said. I'm still shaky and emotional. I'm just going to give this to you guys really raw, because this is what we need in life, is more of real stuff, not just edited and cut. That was the really hard conversation. She's so convicted of her truth and her reality. She truly believes what she says. She begged to be in my life. It's so hard, bro, because she's, that's your mom. You just want to trust someone. You want to love them. You can't do it. I can't explain it to her the way I wish I could. Of course, I want my mom to be a part of my life. Of course, I miss my family. But, that can't happen. That can't happen, man. Her belief is so far off. I didn't even get to really ask the questions I had for her. It just turned into a conversation. I was very organized before, tried to keep it very clear, and it just didn't work out that way. This is one of the hardest things I've had to do, is have that conversation. My sister did not kill my brother. She didn't. Put it on her. It's so unfair.
Yeah, it is.
It's so unfair entirely. She would never do that.
Wow.
I don't care how mad she was, how upset she was, how hurt she was, and she was being put through hell, being moved around, and after everything that happened with my dad, she didn't even have a chance to breathe. And to blame her. This is the world. This is Tyler's fault. Damn. All right, let me pull myself together here. This isn't Tyler's fault. She didn't do that. She didn't hurt JJ. She didn't do that. So that's not the truth. That's not the truth. And I guess I have to accept how delusional my mom is. This is not real. There's no even slight evidence that Tylee did that. And it just hurts to blame her after she was brutally taken. Who knows exactly how. JJ was taken, Tammy was taken, Charles was taken. They were taken. It wasn't an accident. I'm going to have to process this, obviously. Yeah, I didn't get to say goodbye to her. I feel like I said my piece. You heard what she had to say. So that's about it. I'm a mess right now. But I'm not going to let that be the narrative. Tylee didn't do that. But I didn't rebuttal her because I knew it wouldn't go anywhere. I tried that. I was very confrontational with her, and I just got doors in my face. I knew I had to come in and just ask questions. Not come in with an angle. Not just say my piece to send my piece to the end. I feel like she heard what I had to say. So,
and one thing I really appreciate about Colby is that he immediately, after what just happened with that phone call, it would have been totally understandable for him to take some time away from the camera and away from, podcasting or what have you, to go and try to process that, right? And to try to make sense, try to process that, and then to come back and give thoughts, whether it be an hour later or the next day or the next week. That would have been completely understandable. And the fact that he is, just processing here in real time is so, again, I would just have the utmost respect, because that's just like a lot to make yourself that vulnerable is really admirable. Again, for the camera and for all these people to see on YouTube, you know what I mean? It's really something else.
This was the heaviest thing I've ever done. Thank you guys for watching this. This is not easy to share, but I say that right now because I'm feeling the gravity of this. I'm feeling the gravity of this fully. So I just want to say thank you guys for supporting me, my family. And I did my best. I did my best to talk to her. So.
Oh, well, he did a great job. So, and I think he's got some other, videos there. What we will watch next time, whenever we do our next coverage of Lori Vallow, is the interview where Colby interviews Nate Eaton. So they swap, which will be really interesting. I'm excited to see that too. So, and I do plan to come back later tonight, and we will do more Koberger. We will pick up where we left off with the motions and eliminating the responses. So we'll be doing all the DNA related documents and the dollhouse, as I call it. I think other people call it that. And people, y'all know what I mean, right? The 3D model. And whatever else we have left apart from the death penalty motions, then that will be a different live stream. We may take another look too at the Syra affidavit, just because there was so much information in there, and it might be worth going through again. I mean, not even maybe, I'm sure it is. So that will be tonight. And so And I'm also going to make a compilation video with the best of moments, if, as it were, from the Twin Flames cult, because that was really a wild ride. For those of you guys who were there, it was so good. We had to do 2 rounds. Actually, it was more like 3 rounds. That was just insanity. And so yeah, but I appreciate y'all being here. And for anyone who is getting caught up on any of the cases, because there's so many going on right now, you know, I have playlists for every case that I'm covering and have covered on the channel too. And I also have really detailed timestamps. So if anybody wants to get caught up on any of them, you know, that's an easy kind of way to do it and find everything organized. They should be, the playlist should have the videos organized by like most recent at the top. So anyway, you want me to play, do you want me to play the Waterfall song now? I totally can. I know Heather said her chat's not been working. So Heather, if you're listening still and you're trying to type in the chat, I love you. Hopefully you figure out how to get that working. Maybe if you reinstall the app, but since I do have a request, we'll play that and then we'll go ahead and play the outro. So give me just a second here. Do, 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 do. There it is. Do 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 do. 339 Canton time. Jackson United, it's time to shine. There's snow, there's snow, there's snow, there's snow. To the window, to the wall, to the wall, to the bartender's last call. At the waterfall, I say sleep, motherfucker. I say sleep, goddamn. I say sleep, motherfucker. I say sleep, goddamn. They'll crunk and act and meet. Run quickly, rest when they have too much drink in their minds. Everything's fine, but an after party gathered about 50 damn times. To the window, to the wall, to the wall, to the bartender's last call. At the waterfall, I say sleep, motherfucker. I say sleep, goddamn, goddamn. I say sleep, motherfucker. I say sleep, goddamn. Do 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 do. All right, I love you guys, and I'll see y'all later. Squirrel out.